Back and forth on the collation of the Ablekuma North constituency parliamentary election results. The Electoral Commission has declared the NDC parliamentary candidate Irabna Oben as winner of the contest. This particular collation has witnessed a lot of drama, chaos, starting from yesterday, where at a point the ECA has to suspend the collation and continue today. Unfortunately, the collation we are supposed to have today did not come off. The EC did a pronouncement based on the number of pink sheets that they have collated so far. Out of the 281 polling stations in the constituency, the Electoral Commission has collated 219 pink sheets thus far, based on people raising concerns that the EC officers declared the results under duress.
Thank God, after a long and lengthy day, she has been declared the winner. It's a clear-cut matter. We know we had the original pink sheets. We know we've gone through the collation. And thank God the EC saw the wisdom in declaring her as the winner of Ablekuma North constituency parliamentary election.
Member of Parliament-elect Irabna Oben promised her constituent of development.
I want to thank the grassroots supporters. I mean, they have made this happen, because if I didn't have the support organically from them, they wouldn't be sleeping here days and nights waiting to see that their votes are protected. Going forward, I want to assure the people of Ablekuma North that I'm going to work with them like I have done. I appreciate their support.
Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma North constituency and NPP parliamentary candidates Nana.
Declare, otherwise we'll beat you, we'll give you. Declare. And quickly, the other guy stood up, went and called that they should come in so that they'll force him to declare. Now, what I am telling the media is that this is my regional chairman. We are here representing the party. The fact that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia didn't win doesn't mean constituencies should also not win. A constituency that has been voted for, the candidate that has been voted for, must be declared the winner.
Reporting for Metro News, I'm Echo Sechisaki, EC.
Following the declaration of the Electoral Commission that former President and President-elect John Dramani Mahama has won the presidential elections for 2024, many supporters of the New Patriotic Party have come to the residence of the Vice President and their flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to declare their support and confidence in him ahead of the 2028 elections. First to speak was the parliamentary candidate for Korle Klote constituency, Valentino Ninoy, who lost in the parliamentary elections.
We
are here to encourage our father. The one who won in the parliamentary elections also declared their support and confidence in the NPP flag bearer ahead of the 2028 elections. We are here to encourage you. Let us put aside the laws and focus on the 2028 elections.
Going forward into the next election.
Doctor, trouble for your dog. Yenja wumu de biara da. Esansa wushe Greater Accra.
The people of Trouble love you. We are the only constituency in Accra that gave you a lot of votes. And we will continue to work hard to win you the next elections.
Member of Parliament-elect for the Wijak-Bawe constituency, Jerry Ahmed, particularly expressed concern about the destruction of state properties and attacks on MPP members in some part of the country.
We are there for you. We're there for you. Your Excellency, we just need you to call people to order. We need the same American government to call people to order. We need all these countries who are giving unnecessary pressure on Ghana to call the NDC apparatus to order.
The MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in his address, expressed confidence ahead of the 2028 elections.
Election NDC. Numbers no answer from 2020. Above from by 40%. I mean, no mistake.
Sir, a baby or ho, baby, and your mistake, number no engine so ye. Ain't he, train kakra, number no swam with the bemao. Ain't he, it is still possible.
He also called on party members to stop the blame games and unite ahead of the 2028 elections.
You need to know here, stop the blame games. Let's look at the future. But let's come together. If we come together, the party will win. At this stage, we're looking to build the party again. It's not about individual ambition, but let's build the party. Once the party is ready, we'll go for the main event.
Supporters of the party are confident that if they unite, they'll be able to win the 2028 elections. Reporting for Metro News, I'm Derek Adote, Accra.
Come into your homes again this evening, because tomorrow, Saturday, December the 7th, we shall be going to the polls to elect a new President of the Republic and members of the 9th Parliament to run the affairs of the country. Since I have come to the end of my constitutionally sanctioned tenure of office as President, as has also the 8th Parliament. This will be the 9th successive time we shall be discharging this sacred civic duty of voting to choose our leaders since the onset of the Fourth Republic 32 years ago. It gives me great joy that we now have generations of young Ghanaians who take elections and voting to choose our leaders as a regular, commonplace part of life. Indeed, they take it for granted. That surely is a sign of a nation that has attained maturity and self-confidence and should give us reason to be proud. It gives me great personal satisfaction to have been part of those who fought of us to achieve this right. But we should never forget that the flame of freedom needs to be protected and constantly refueled. Elections are at the heart of a democracy, and we qualify to be counted amongst mature democracies after 8 successful elections. It is not surprising that our country is held up as a beacon of democratic stability in Africa. We should be justly proud of this and do everything we can to protect and uphold this status. As is usual with us, the campaign period has been characterized by colorful, loud, and intense activities all over the country. But that period is over, and I believe the arguments have been made and the messages have been delivered. We've also had a last quiet day of reflection before the polls open tomorrow morning. We have good reason to be proud of the Electoral Commission, the body that is charged with running our elections. Today, it is a much more efficient and transparent institution that we are all ready to entrust with the responsibility of delivering a free, fair, and transparent election that will truly reflect the will of the people. I urge all of us to cooperate with the electoral officials to do their work and ensure that we can all be proud of having added another notch to the list of successful elections we have held.
I've received reports of attacks on state offices and installations. While it's unclear who is behind these attacks, I condemn them in no uncertain terms. These acts must cease immediately. As I said during my post-declaration speech, I urge the youth not to vent their frustration in criminal enterprise. Instead, they must channel their anger and frustration into the positive enterprise of resetting and rebuilding our beloved nation. I urge all our citizens to remain calm and avoid actions that could harm our institutions and our democracy, We have fought hard for change, and now is the time to demonstrate our commitment to rebuilding the Ghana we want through unity and understanding. Because state power is still in the hands of the present administration, I call on the President and the security agencies to act decisively to curb the ongoing acts of lawlessness immediately. I thank you, my fellow citizens, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana.
No. I wasn't here, but I was called because I live just around the corner by some very frightening people that some young people had come to the place, and so when I got here, the police were here. They had managed to restore calm, but my abiding caution to those people who are running around doing that is that you are not helping President-elect Mahama with this kind of conduct. President Mahama is even yet to take office. So let's not create more problems for him than he has to solve. I am appealing to them, right, not to imitate the likes of Abronye. That's not us. In 2016, when Abronye was running around seizing people's cars, the then elected government, even after they came to power, they encouraged it. But that's not us. That is not us.
Does this put fear in people who live around the area, just like you?
Of course. Look around you. Didn't you hear what the soldiers said when they came? There's something like stray bullets. You understand? And the soldiers and the police, look around you. They are very well armed. If they decide to take on people who are firing at them, anything can happen. Why do you come to a government premises with arms? Why do you do that?
Really unfortunate to know, but we are hoping that the police officials, together with the military, will be
the
here.
Police have been excellent. They've been very patient. They didn't even respond to those people who had the weapons. They dissipated them quietly. But I urge them to take action against the people who are leading these things. It's not correct. Look, if you didn't do it when Akufo-Addo was quote-unquote president, don't do it now. You understand? Don't do it now. Everybody knows the situation that the youth of this country are facing. Somebody is preparing to address it. You have elected him to address it. Give him the time to address it. Let him take office. Because President Mahama has even outlined what he wants to do in 120 days. If you can't read it, let somebody read it to you. But please, for heaven's sake, do not go and invade a government installation. Some of these installations are very sensitive installations. You go there, you go and destroy equipment, cost millions of dollars. There are people who are trained to do this job over time. We understand your anger. We understand your anger. Even those of us who have multiple functionality when it comes to education, we've all been unemployed, just like you. Take your time. You've taken your time for 8 years. Don't mess it up now.
All right, Mr. Blay, we've seen over the past couple of days and since Monday particularly, supporters of the MPP besieging a number of offices of state institutions, demanding that the officials there, political appointees mainly, vacate their offices. We've seen some near violence and all that. Your thoughts on this matter?
Well, I'm not too sure specifically what you want to refer to. But there have been instances where it's not an issue of people going to public offices and state institutions to drive out people and take over. No. In some cases, particularly at places like the Harbour, DVLA, Peduasi Lodge, polling booths and so forth, you know, in some cases, the people have to go there to protect state property, to ensure that looting stops. I've been told that in some public offices and so forth, all of a sudden, those who are working there have refused to come to work. Not because they have been intimidated or being chased out, but they themselves have suspected that maybe because how they came there was purely based on them being members of the party then in power. Maybe some people will chase them out. Then they've left those public places just to the wind, just to the weather. And people have gone there to go and protect it. Some of our members have gone there to go and protect it.
I know that the party and a number of top officials of the MPP have condemned these acts. But beyond the condemnation, what will the party do? Because it seems that's not working.
Well, it's not a question of condemnation. I've told you that it's not some instances I won't condemn. If they were there to protect property, assets.
How do they protect property? They are not security officials.
Look, at the Harbour, people are stealing cars. People are carrying away items that should attract duties and so forth. Containers being taken away without going through the right processes and so forth. I think we should be bold enough to say that stop what you are doing.
But it is not the duty of MPP supporters to go around and enforce law and order. In that regard, it's the duty of the police. You are in power now. Your party is in power now. Just notify the police and they'll deal with it, Mr. Blake.
Let me make a point. It is your duty, my duty, to stop anybody stealing even an individual's property. If you can, you have good reason to know that what the person is doing amounts to stealing.
But we have appropriate institutions. I agree. We have appropriate institutions.
No, I'm saying that,
that can do that job
stealing
as well.
Cars from the Harbour, taking them away. Are you suggesting that we should wait and go and call the police before they come and stop
You think the party supporters are better placed to handle this than the police?
It's not a question of they are better placed, that they will stop them and then refer the matter to the police subsequently. Please, let's understand that.
To go?
No, please. There are instances where they were right. But there are instances that I will not endorse that. I will consider their conduct not the best.
What instances were they wrong?
Instances where they will go and lock up, let's say, a public institution or a government offices and so forth. If some of these things have happened, which you are telling me might have happened, I will not endorse it. I will not support it. But I've given you examples that in some cases it's to protect property, state property. If you go to Peduasi and people are stealing louvers, people are removing air conditioners and so forth, and you are a Ghanaian and you know that that is wrong, and you can't immediately get to the police, you stop them. Then why are you doing that? If I do that, you are telling me that you shouldn't do that.
So, Mr. Blake, your point is that really these MPP supporters who in some cases go around and besiege some of these state agencies and all that are simply enforcing the law.
No,
They're enforcing the law.
I'm saying that you should protect state property.
They are protecting state property.
State property.
They are protecting state property.
Some instances. In other instances where they were not entitled to do that, they are not entitled to do that, I will not endorse it. I will not agree that they should go and close DVLA, offices and so forth. But even in the case of the DVLA, we've been informed that in some cases papers are being shredded, documents are being shredded. Say, stop doing that. What people get the suspicion that this is what is happening. But let me make this argument. Tolling booth in the past has been the exclusive preserve of the party in power's members to the exclusion of all other people. Now it's changed. You can imagine people's reaction to that. You say, well, if yesterday you were the one in charge, today you will also have to abide at what is happening. You will also now come and work there because we are Ghanaians. I wouldn't endorse that they should force their way through. But this is a reaction which you must understand within the context.
Ghanaians, upa kwato like that's aba wabano spiritually no otu negative and cancer positive. Mo bu fu ni an mo tu papa na ye be sesa no huhu how
na kom bi obi no so akwa to aba tia do no
uni mo tia ejuma da
me ni mo tia nya ejuma na de me ni jide bia o mo tia wi
udi mo tia ejuma me hu mo tia da me no makasa. I can't mutia at the age of 6-7 years. Now because school St. John's Preparatory Primary. So that time no.
I'm handsome and I have money. My chain is about $200,000. My watch here, is $120,000. The case I want fire, say I want fair me. I want fair no bottom. I want fair wakumamu. And I'm handsome. Then you na prono wana.
Upa kwato like that's aba wabano spiritually no. Otu negative and cancer positive. Mo bu fu ni an mo tu papa bana. Ye be sesa no huhu.
How? Na kom bi obi no so akwa to aba tia do no.
Uni mo tia ejuma da.
Me ni mo tia nya ejuma na de me ni jide bia o mo tia wi
udi mo tia ejuma me hu mo tia da. Me no makasa. Uni tama me
Hello?
Hello, please, is it the MPP headquarters?
Yes.
Thank God. Me pacho me join mo bus and eko na vrungu se me kotoa, but bus na tuwe jami. And now see me from no send me keska.
Na vrungu?
Yes, please.
Hold on, why me check here there. Na brongo on.
Me pachani.
Na brongo results of one de mai. Ke kumase kura kamitwa umomo. Madam. Yana nanti bro. Nanti bro why? Na ba fun amokoto no ho no ya provide buses amamo. Ya mamo mubi 100 cedis, 500 cedis above for car. Na mo koto aba. Uko wa ko da boyfriend o. O koto aba no. Na ba za tu eja o. Please, Nancy Brown.
Please, it is not possible.
It is possible.
It is not possible.
Mr. Nancy, they are possible.
It is not possible. It is not possible. Oh.
Waka. Oh. Madam Waka, why? It is possible to walk from Navrongo to Accra. Waka.
Oh. It is not possible.
Mom ya say kase ya dia mamo tabu bago to aba moko ye ya cha momo ma li dia mo ni anwo de ma mo nyina yi mo papa mo
God's presence, I trust everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is doing well. Your heart is at peace. You have the joy of the Lord. And the goodness of the Lord is your portion. We serve a good and a wonderful and a mighty God. And we celebrate his goodness in all issues of life. Amen. Now, when we said today we would dress with a hint of green, I didn't think we anticipated other implications. Now, if I was a prophet, I would say that was prophetic. But I'm just a pastor.
If you reach a certain stage in life and there is nobody who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth, you are doomed. And that is where our country has gotten to. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. And I feel very terrible as a Ghanaian at this time. This country is in serious trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We are in serious trouble. We need to rescue this country, ladies and gentlemen. The presidency has been so depraved, so muddied, so dirtied, that I tell you in all sincerity as a Ghanaian, that I feel terribly sad today as a Ghanaian. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi, inshallah.
Please don't cry.
We shall rescue our country.
Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Right, hello, good morning and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Thursday, the 12th day of December 2024. By His grace, we're live and we're here. We're yet another edition of the show. Our gratitude to go to Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making the rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. Government will fully support transitional process, President Akufo-Addo assures. Will renegotiate IMF World Bank deals, President-elect Mahama. Return official vehicles by January 3, 2025, Akufo-Addo direct appointees. Economic growth 7.2% in third quarter. NPP calls on stakeholders to condemn post-election violence. Ghanaian Times. Transfer of political power. 18-member transition team inaugurated. President Akufo-Addo, President-elect Mahama call for cooperation among members. No acquisition of official government vehicles by appointees. President. Efforts to halt post-election violence. Please deploy more men nationwide to clamp down on perpetrators. Restore law and order. Ghana records 7.2% growth in quarter 3, 2024. I'm told that's the real GDP for the quarter. Daily Guide. You have my support for smooth transition. Nana tells Mahama. Don't retain state cars. Akufo-Addo to appointees. Reverse illegal declarations. NPP to EC. CSOs commend IGP's anti-violence strategy. Media held for elections coverage. Roman father congratulates Mahama. The New Crusading Guide. Stop vandalizing state properties. NPP tells NDC. Akufo-Addo promises smooth transition. Akufo-Addo directs appointees to return all government vehicles. U.S. Secretary of State congratulates President-elect John Mahama. EC suspends collation of results in Ablekuma North over security concerns. Thoughts of EU ambassador on Ghana's 2024 elections. Hey Ghana, you did it again. The Insight. Mahama, his first 120-day social contract with the people of Ghana. Ghana's new dawn, high expectations for Mahama's second term. Obasima Foundation congratulates Professor Jenan Opukwajiman on her election as first female Vice President of Ghana. Group calls for ministerial appointment for James Enu. Tepoman Hini calls for calm amid heightened political tensions. The Daily Statesman. Reality will determine the way forward. President-elect Mahama declares. NPP charges NDC to end post-election vandalism. GBA commends successful conduct of December polls. National Transition Team inaugurated. The New Republic. After claiming he will never hand over to NDC, JM anointed before his enemy, in quotes, as Nana-Addo welcomes him back to Jubilee House. And the pictures tell the story. So to your left is what happened in 2016 when John Mahama welcomed Nana Akufo-Addo to the Jubilee House. And then this is 2024. Nana Akufo-Addo welcoming John Mahama to the Jubilee House. Jean Mensah hot as EC staff recruiter vanished with agents' money. NPP appointees at ECG on final looting spree. NPP's cataclysmic defeat. Subin MP blames Akufo-Addo's intransigence. Daily Post. Mahama urges transition team to work expeditiously. NDC transition team flags last-minute recruitment and 240 million cedis ECG payment to entity. NDC Pro Forum USA congratulates Mahama, pledges to rally diaspora support for him. NDC UAE chapter congratulates President-elect John Mahama. Business and Financial Times. Economy expands further. Real GDP up 7.2% in Q3 2024. Stronger regulations needed to curb environmental and social impact of mining. VCTF commits 35 million cedis to empower women-led businesses. Bank of Ghana restores CBG's foreign currency trading license. Netherlands ambassador advocates support for young entrepreneurs. And Access Bank expands presence with new branch in Obuasi. And that's about it. For the front pages, we'll be back shortly.
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing, but nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver.
Again.
Hello, thank you for calling MTN.
This is Jerry. Jolly J for short.
How may I help?
I'm not happy with you guys at all. You've been giving Bongo gifts all the time.
Who is Bongo?
Oh, Bongo, my friend. He purchased in my room.
Oh.
You've been giving free gifts, but I don't.
That's MTN rewards, sir. Talk, text, browse, and more, and you get to redeem free call time or data by simply dialing *550#. And on Fridays, you can even get extra special rewards like food vouchers, shopping discounts, and much more.
Mama didn't tell me anything. Would you like to know how I got the name Jolly J?
That won't be necessary, Mr. Jolly. Calling customer care service doesn't give you points.
I'm gonna call my mom. I'll call my grandma. And I'll call my ex. That girl can talk, Papa. Hello, Mama. So what's the topic for today?
MTN. Look around.
Home also need a makeover.
Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Matching furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just a breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it.
Here's Kwame and Yao. After hours of planning, both have locked in the same perfect multi-bet. Big win for United, over 1.5. And both teams to score in the London Derby. But who could have picked Leicester over City? Or a high-scoring game at the Bridge? There's nothing worse than having your perfect multi-bet missing. But there's nothing better than having it saved. Bet saver. Win, even if your bet misses.
Ama, nansi mi cheno wo bin enko ye kwao. Ama ma ye bohu se kuntomra akija.
Nansi me ho se me nyo basi makura. Ama me kunu ni me into kwankwa. Oh you why? Enye mo ko. Give us GC lecture and the capsules. Aye num bom. En ho asem na mo kana. E boa emma ene meme nyina. Na ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye be masima. Ya, we the boy I'm an giant sour the shelly bottom. No, when you never need to say, you owe you chop one. Give us GC mixture and then a capsule.
A pin for a batter, one more menu for one and Quada when you feel to me.
Apomode wonsem yemfen diagro enunti nese wonum edepapa nkoa Exodus moringa capsules ene Exodus dandelion capsules efi Exodus elusuyenum na ebeboa wa pomoden na mu bia wo benya no betimi aboa nanso se wonye tu no a wo betimi andom abo na ebeboa papa se wonum Exodus moringa capsules ne Exodus dandelion capsules eboa mamojedi efusani yi na fame a boost immune system now quit ya yarewa hoto minimi ye say nipa dodo na nim dia moringa etimi ye na dandelion so ye nim eno nti me nkasa bebre enye ma apemfo ana abatan a oma enifo ana abofra onya emfidumi Exodus ehua dance die dos.
You're the answer to my prayer. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa and the IRECOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRECOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOT, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
This is Coastal Park, a well-demarcated gated community carved out to host your residential and commercial properties. With a minimum of 40,000 Ghana cedis, you too can own a piece of the serene site.
It's just 50 minutes drive from the Central University College, as well as just some 5 minutes drive from the Ningo Senior High School. More so, just in case you live somewhere in Adam and you want to take that excursion to many of those areas along the Volta estuary, this is the right property for you to invest in.
Great news from Estate Masters Limited. We're running a 10% discount promo on all sites to celebrate our 10th year anniversary. Join in the celebration by becoming an Estate Master. Enjoy benefits such as free site visits throughout the duration, free indenture, and free site plan. Contact us for more information. Remember, T's and C's apply. Estate Masters Limited, your most preferred estate partner.
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing, but nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver.
Jomama, man, Machina, boo. Jomama, boo. Ha, not to say what me a police for BB. Not to say what me a military for BB. Not to say what me a electoral commission for BB. Not to say what me a judges in BB. Jomama, Uni and DC, Mobu. Bibian were Bessie. Jomama, Bibian were Bessie. Ha, Meka Abiache Obia say, Obia piano cotuna by our bless with you. Obi kwa wodi for fear kofuna de bade just out chireno. Obi kwa wodi for fear anko Jomama who say or lose abano. Eti some who say I be no person wakeka. Abano Yankopon dia maye. Munya ko muka aye Mose nguma no a. What you say? Aye Exodus. Mose nguma to sunum no. Etre edu nine echichemu du miensa eko edu nine no. Osi munya ko no Yankopon be kwa ma mo. Asante man Yankopon be kwa ma ye. Ghana man Yankopon be kwa ma ye. Dr. Elijah Mamuba obiya Yankopon be kwa ma ye. MP Yankopon be kwa ma ye. Mesi dame me dano. Onyankopon basa baba yekasia our Dr. Elijah Mahmoud Baumiaso. We are going to make a history. John Mahama Messina Hindia no young bio. John Mahama young no politics bio. He's going to be a history. And Tirimodin any young one move to avenge his political enemies. Our person on the banner. It's not going to work because God is no longer going to tolerate John Dramani Mahama to come and be the president again in Ghana. It's not going to happen. It's sorry. There will be over to me a piano. But what you say, a free na, I could pay Memendano. Obey, Mechama to me, my dear. Said your poor cassa, Okopano, Makuma, a cassa was a duke could be about Bono, and you be a maca. Chama to me, my dear TV, 5 TV stations. Many adverto, Oko Western, Oko Western North, Tamale, many advertido, any red women advertido. May the young people a Juma, and Sidiana also super to me. May the man what day, Missika, me be beyond the Bidiasamu. Sabio, Acadian also over to me.
Alright, so we buy now, pay later with Symmetry. You can now buy a sleek and trendy smartphone and enjoy the luxury of paying and convenient weekly or monthly installment plans. All you have to do is walk into any of MTN service centers to choose your favorite from a wide range of mobile phones on offer. The best part is all phones come with up to 2 gigabytes free data so you can share your pictures and get all the biggest scoops online for the first 6 months after purchase. Go on. Share the exciting news with your family and friends and stay connected on the smart side of life with MTN and Sam Metro. All right, so you're welcome back to the show. If you just tune in, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. And with me on the show this morning, we have the chair of the Baumia 2024 Energy Committee. Okay, Kojo Nsafwa Poku with us. Kojo, good morning.
Morning, my brother. How are you?
Good. By the special grace of God, I'm doing well. Also with me on the show this morning is the former Chief Executive of the Free Zones Authority, Kojo Chum Boafo. Kojo, good morning.
Right morning.
I can see that my brother Kojo Poku Mahala has lost his bow tie.
Oh no. You know, every time I come on Randy, I actually look at the number of times I've been there and dress accordingly. No, I dress accordingly. Last time I was here, I was in a bow tie. I felt it would be too much now on a Thursday. I mean, if anybody that watches me, I actually take conscientious effort of what I dress on. Thursdays are normally.
I thought he was going to produce bow tie and tell us, It's liquid money.
Solid.
Solid.
But my liquid money, everybody knows that my money there will be whether I both
solid money. Yes, we can tell you solid money.
But I want to go to that.
The Kase Kojopoku Botaya is solid money.
You want to actually bring you something.
He doesn't get the point.
And I don't get the point you're making. My bow ties have gone at it. You went me and you on TV3 back in 2013.
What do you want to be say about? What do you want to be say about his gold bar?
I don't believe. My bow tie is Kojopoku's bow tie.
Your bow tie is a solid bow tie.
Yes, my brother.
Last week, you were here.
Yes.
You were extremely upbeat.
Very confident.
What happened?
Well, Ghanaians have spoken. Look, elections are not the ones that you go in with a faint heart. You go into election very prepared. We had a very good candidate who worked his ass off, went to all 276 constituencies, had the message. We went, gave Ghanaians our messages. Like anything, like you're a football person. You mean the coach of a team will give the pep talk, train, and does all the things that they need to do the right preparation. But when you go on the field of play, it doesn't go your way. Look, that's what it is. Ghanaians have spoken. We've taken the results in good faith. Our leader showed maturity, humility, and basically what is expected of him when he realized that we don't have the numbers. He came earlier and unprecedented, announced that, look, we're conceding, called the president-elect John Dramani Mahama to congratulate him. And that is what's expected of a statesman and somebody who... But look, we had it. We basically went out there and told Ghanaians what we had. But Ghanaians, unfortunately, it's not majority of Ghanaians. We hope that the apathy would have been less. A lot of people will have come out and would have gotten a very good turnout. We didn't. Most in part, we'll have to do a soul searching to find out what actually happened. But look, Ghanaians did not, 6 million or so, over 6 million Ghanaians did not like what they heard, and they think that the country should go a different direction. We respect that.
I mean, the NDC has lost elections, the MPP has lost elections. But it's loss. Whether it is from the executive point or the legislative point, it's catastrophic.
It is, but then that's what I'm saying, that there is, and as time goes on and we look, I personally feel that there is a lot of a deep look at our whole democratic landscape. In 2020, something happened. We had about 17 million people registered for voter registration, and only 14 million people showed up. Less than 14 million people showed up, right? So about 3 million people stayed out. For me, it was worrying. Then we had about over 18 million people register for voter registration, and only 11 million people show up. We are declining in the number of people that are actually showing up to our polls every 4 years. And when I have gone out with Dr. Mahmoud Baumia to give out our bold message to all 16 regions, what we saw was that most of the people in the crowd that were out to meet us were the youth. If you look at the demographics of this country, the youth now form the majority of the country. But when you looked on election day, the people in the queues, the youth were missing. So we need to look at why that is happening, what needs to be done. There's a need to educate that base. Because look, my son votes in the next election, right? And he does not even know where the traditional TV stations are. The world is changing. And we really, political parties with MPP now coming into opposition, we will need to do a lot of in-depth root and branch analysis of the party, where we see it and where our support base is, and basically go to 2028 much prepared than we did this time around.
All right. Okay. So the transition is started per the act. I mean, Nana Akufo-Addo, President Akufo-Addo, invited President-elect John Dramani Mahama to the seat of government yesterday, and then they also inaugurated a joint transitional team. But the NDC side is already raising some issues as far as the transitional process or the transition process is concerned. The newly elected Member of Parliament for the AAK constituency, Felix Kwachio Fosu, is also the spokesperson of the NDC side on the transition team. I have him now with us to deal with these issues. Good morning, Felix.
Oh, good morning, Randy.
Hi. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
On quite a decisive victory.
Well, thank you very much.
It must feel really good.
Oh, well, I feel humbled to have obtained such an overwhelming mandate from the good people of the Abrasebu Kwamankese constituency. For me, it places a huge responsibility on my shoulders, and it is a responsibility I intend to carry to the best of my abilities.
4 years ago, you lost narrowly. It was quite painful for you. What did you do differently? What changed?
Well, I analyzed the results of the last elections and determined what they have gone wrong. So based on that knowledge, I moved to correct the slippages and mistakes and adopt a strategy that will make me more appealing, that will make my message find greater resonance with the constituents. And I proceeded to work hard to convince them that I was the best person to represent their interests in Parliament. And thankfully, it worked in a manner that actually exceeded my own expectations. So I'm thankful that the people listened to me this time and have bestowed such a massive mandate on me. And I do not intend to let them down at all.
Right, Felix, let's move on. The work is already started. The transition has started. Yesterday, the team was inaugurated. You had your maiden meeting. I mean, both sides. You had your maiden meeting after the inauguration.
You have just 1
By
minute.
close of day, we had information to the effect that your side had raised some issues with respect to what you refer to as last-minute recruitments and some 240 million CD payment to a certain entity by the ECG. What really are the issues? Okay, I'm told that we just lost Felix. We'll get him back on the line, and then we'll deal with these issues with respect to the red flags with the transition. Whilst we are at it, I've just had correspondence to the effect. It's actually a letter from the presidency that President Akufo-Addo at 5 p.m. today will swear in a deputy commissioner for Shraj. That's at 5 p.m. today. And I was going to tie that into the issues that Felix is raised. So that's actually the letter. The president has requested a presence, your presence. So this at the swearing of Benjamin Bafo-Boni, Esquire, as Deputy Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, scheduled for Wednesday, 11th of December. So it actually happened yesterday. Yes, at 5 p.m. Okay. So this signed by Koy Suma, was the acting secretary to the president. So it's actually happened. And for those who've seen this, they relate it to a letter written on the 17th of December 2016 during the transition. And production, if you could just put that letter on. So this is 17th of December. And it's addressed to the Chief of Staff, Office of the President, Republic of Ghana, Flagstaff House. Attention, Mr. Julius Debra. And it says, decision of the co-chairs of the presidential transition team to suspend the recruitment of one, the government statistician, 2 senior staff of the IOCO, and 3 senior staff of other MDAs. And it says, I write to confirm our agreement reached on the above subject matter per our telephone conversation of December 17, 2016, which took place within the hour of 17 hours GMT as follows. 1, the current rush to recruit personnel at various MDAs appears improper and must be discontinued. 2, it is agreed that positions such as the government statistician and senior staff personnel of the IOCO are highly critical and must only be carried out with the explicit consent of the transition team of the president-elect. 3, it is mutually agreed that the recruitment of the government statistician and senior staff of IOCO and other MDAs shall therefore be suspended by the government. Considering the short duration of the transition period, we trust that any emergencies that may arise regarding the need for recruitment shall be considered on a case-by-case basis and with the explicit consent of the transition team of the president-elect. Counting on your cooperation, yours sincerely, Engineer Yao Safomafu, representative of the president-elect and co-chair 2016 transition team. So this was the position of the NPP side in 2016, that they believe that there was a rush to recruit personnel at various MDAs. It is improper. It must be discontinued. Positions such as government statistician, which the government was then about to appoint, and senior staff of YOKU are highly critical and must be carried out with the explicit consent of the transition team of the president-elect. And so all these things ought to stop. And that for that transition period, any emergencies that may arise regarding the need for recruitment should be considered on a case-by-case basis and with the explicit consent of the transition team of the president-elect. Well, the question will be, what is it that has changed? But we have the Honorable Felix Kwacho Fosu back on the line. Welcome back, Felix.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So I was saying that after the maiden meeting, it appears that your side has raised some issues with respect to last-minute recruitments, some 240 million CD payments, and if you were watching, I've just also put out an appointment yesterday, in fact, a swearing in of a Deputy Commissioner of Strategy by President Akufo-Addo, and juxtapose that against the position of his transition team in 2016 when the then President, John Dramani Mahama, wanted to appoint a government statistician, some senior officers of YOKU, and of course some appointments in some MDAs.
Well, let me start by indicating that the meeting itself was cordial yesterday. It got off well. In compliance with Section 4 of the Transition Act of 2012, 3 committees or 3 subcommittees were established. That is the inauguration subcommittee that is tasked with the responsibility of organizing the 7th January swearing in of the president-elect. Then there was a government machinery subcommittee that has the duty to coordinate and arrange the handing over to the new administration of the machinery of the civil service, that's the ministries, departments, and agencies. And then there was a presidency subcommittee that is tasked with ensuring the orderly transfer of all assets and liabilities of the president, the vice president, the ministers, deputy ministers, regional ministers, deputy regional ministers, and everybody who works under the presidency. So these committees were established. They were populated by highly respected individuals, and they have been charged to get to work right away to ensure that this thing is done and over with within a reasonable time. Then the NDC side of the transition team raised concern about some developments that have gone on without recourse to us. Now, it concerns the letter that you raised. You recall that in December 2017, Mr. Osamafu wrote this letter when some appointments were about to be made. Now, it would have been expected that having set the tone, having set this precedence, the MPP side would be minded to act accordingly and not go behind the NDC side to take major decisions that have significant fiscal implications for the incoming government without recourse to us. But unfortunately, that does not appear to be the case. We are hearing, Randy, that in various MDAs, large numbers of people are being recruited in a manner that lacks transparency, in a manner that lacks regularity, and in a manner that appears to even breach the various rules and regulations governing the operations of these MDAs. For instance, we are hearing that up to 700 people have been given backdated appointment letters in GRA alone, and that these individuals were not taken through any known recruitment process. First of all, they did not put in any applications. They have not undergone any interviews. They have not gone through medicals as would be required. Nothing of the sort has happened. And yet, they have been given letters that have been backdated. We have also heard of similar developments at the Bank of Ghana and many other places. We also know of large amounts of monies that are being paid to entities whose services are yet to be determined. For instance, we do know that the Electricity Company of Ghana is on the verge of paying a colossal 249 million Ghana cedis to a company called Haptel for services that as yet are unclear. Now, if this payment was, for instance, being made to an IPP under the cash waterfall mechanism, one could perhaps understand the urgency of the situation. But it is being paid to a service provider whose services are not as yet very, very clear and whose services by no means constitutes an emergency. Now, 249 million Ghana cedis is a huge amount that will take a toll on our public finances. And we are talking about public finances that are in shambles, that the government itself admits is in disarray. And therefore, it would stand to reason that before such huge commitments are made that bind the incoming governments, efforts will be made to seek the buy-in or consent, or as Mr. Asafumafo stated in his own letter, explicit consent of the incoming administration, so that we reach common ground, we are in the know, and know exactly what to do when we take over power. Now, what is going to happen is that these large numbers of recruits are essentially being imposed on the new administration to work with, when they may not necessarily fit into the program of the new administration. Large amounts of money are being committed at a time when we do not even know the full extent of our financial problems, when the books have not been opened, when we have not gone through them, when scrutiny has not been carried out for us to know where we stand exactly in terms of our finances. So we come into power and then we are confronted with payments that we are unaware of. And it throws our entire program off gear. For instance, Randy, it is not for nothing that at the end of the mandate of any government, they don't prepare a budget covering the next year. What you do have is a certain appropriation that covers only 3 months of statutory payments. Even then, it is only statutory payments, as in debt servicing and salaries and other payments that revolve around emergency, that are allowed to be paid. Discretionary payments are not allowed, and it is for good reason, so that you do not bind the incoming administration and saddle them with responsibilities that they are unaware of before taking over. So this was a matter of grave concern for the members of the NDC side of the transition team, and we raised it forcefully. Eventually, it was decided that the matter will be revisited on Friday. But we are hearing that even after that consensus was reached, some movements are still taking place regarding recruitments and payments. And we insist that these payments be suspended. Now, it was also suggested at the meeting yesterday that given the gravity of the situation, the seriousness of the matter, a subcommittee should be formed to look at these matters regarding recruitments, last-minute appointments, and significant payments, so that we understand fully the broad range of issues covering these matters, so firm decisions can be taken. But it is our position that no such recruitments or payments should be made without having been subjected to scrutiny by the NDC side, and we stand firmly by this.
Now, but Felix, you made the point that whilst you are at it, it's actually ongoing. So what are you going to do about it?
Well, there's a remedy. The new government reserves the right to review these transactions, especially in circumstances where they were not done regularly. For instance, if people have been recruited and they've not gone through due process, not going through due process would vitiate any such appointments. And therefore, the incoming government will reserve the right to review them as and when we deem necessary. So those who are in a hurry to ram this thing through without recourse to due process and are not following laid down rules should know that they will be held accountable when the new government takes over. It is in their own interest that they put an end to this, consult the incoming administration, so that we find common ground and seek consensus on the matter before any such processes can proceed. Those paying monies without due process should remember that there are laws. There are procurement laws. There are laws governing how monies are to be paid from the public office. And if you go against it and it is found out, you will be held accountable, strictly so. So I don't think that anybody can pretend that merely because they are in the position of authority today and there is some bit of lacuna because of a transition, they are free to do as they please. There will be consequences for the actions they are taking, and it will be in their own interest that they do things properly. i.e., consult the incoming government and seek, again, using Mr. Safomafo's expression, explicit consent before they proceed.
Now, Felix, it appears, abundantly clear in this Fourth Republic that any time we give the right of discretion to persons, and we expect that they will exercise that right in accordance with how the Constitution prescribes discretion to be exercised. They have failed us, and if you even look at the Transitional Act itself, it is a product of years of our inability to do what is right, to exercise discretion in the most appropriate manner. Now, if you look at the position of the MPP side in 2017, you would expect that if we're dealing with principles on the basis that this is what they believed was right and proper 8 years ago, they will be the first to set that example. But obviously, because maybe those things are not enacted, those things are not made law, and it's still left to the discretion and perhaps common sense of persons, we see an abuse of it again. There are people who think that, look, if these people want to behave, and when I say these people, I mean the Ghanaian people, if people in leadership want to behave like robots, yes, by all means, put this as a law and let them follow it strictly, because they tend to abuse discretionary power.
Yeah, Randy, I'm one of those who does not believe that everything has to be legislated. I would have thought that human beings have the capacity to reason, and therefore will make decisions based on sound judgments, will make decisions based on acceptable principles and standards. We should know what is fair, what is right, what is balanced, and what we have to do in every given situation. But in the light of the matters that you have raised, I'm inclined to change my position. It does appear that we are going to have to write this in black and white in our laws, because it would only make sense that right after an election, no major decision is taken, and that such major decisions are left for the incoming administration, unless those decisions border on resolving an emergency or a critical national security matter. Beyond that, I don't see the need for these rushed appointments. It would appear that the MPP is in a hurry to appoint supporters and sympathizers into key positions before they leave, because perhaps they believe that they will be orphaned, as it were, to use that expression, if they left them, if they left power without doing so. But that is not right. The national cake does not belong to political parties. They are not remnants, or if you like, they are not a family heirloom that should be scrambled for. So when you lose elections, you don't rush to fix your people in positions before you leave power. You've had 8 years to do so. Why the sudden rush? What is it that they want to do now that they could not have done in the 8 years that Ghanaians gave them to run this country? So it is completely improper. But as you said, it is clear that we are now going to have to write this in explicit terms in our laws before people are bound by it and people comply with it. Otherwise, I would have thought that common sense would prevail in these matters. 3 months to an election, or in the last quarter of the year, of an election year, I don't think that any government ought to be binding the next government with any major decisions, any major financial transactions, or any significant appointments. That is a position that we need, as it were, to amend the Transition Act to cater for. It is most unfortunate that it has to come to this, but that appears to me to be the only remedy. But as I indicated, the incoming government has the right to review and reverse some of these decisions insofar as they do not meet acceptable standards, insofar as they don't comply with Ghanaian law, insofar as they bind us unfairly to payments and decisions that can prove detrimental to our own government's program.
Right, Felix. So we'll thank you and we'll leave it here, and we'll keep monitoring the process and see how it goes with the transition, especially your meeting on Friday. I'm sure that this issue will be on the front burner amongst the many other things that you have to do, especially with this latest development. All right. So that's Felix Kwachofo, who's the spokesperson of the NDC side on the transition, and these are some of the issues that have come up. Kojo, Chum Boafu. I have two Kojos here, so.
But mine is Kojo.
Yes.
What's the difference?
A big difference. There's no J in the tree alphabet.
Yeah, mine, there's no J in mine either.
But everybody calls you Kojo.
But the name is pronounced Kojo, so what is the difference by mine is mine?
Kojo, Mimi, Pimini.
How do you spell your name?
Oh, Kojo Poku Mahala, Mamin Kasa. I never wrote both time now, Mamin Kasa.
But you litigate everything, even including your name.
Should you?
Oh.
I'm in the mood for love. Anyway.
Yes.
Let me greet all your watchers and listeners, and let me greet you yourself, Randy. Let me greet Kojo Poku. I know my brother Kojo is a misty morning for him. He doesn't see no sun, but Andy, I'm humbled, dumbstruck by what the Ghanaian people did on Saturday. Because I recall the events of 8 years ago about this time when the NDC had lost the election. And many of us couldn't fathom how President Mahama, who had put himself about in so many ways, despite having been given only 3 years and 4 months to run this country, if you remember, and all the subsequent events that happened, the name calling, the persecution, it is basically the disgrace that were heaped upon the brows of so many of us in the NDC. And I remember President Mahama's most prophetic words at the time when we were leaving office was that posterity would be his judge. And indeed, posterity has been such a fair arbiter and jurist to him that in a short 8 years, Ghanaians have realized that the things they said about President Mahama were untrue, and they have given him a sweeping mandate to change the lives of the Ghanaian people. Like I said earlier on, I am still humbled and dumbstruck. I haven't been able to celebrate and jubilate as much as I thought I would, because I also realized the onerous task that has been placed upon the shoulders of President Mahama and his incoming administration to better the lives of the Ghanaian people. We've come from a very dark place in the last 8 years, where we have been gaslighted, we have been used and abused, we have been told that what we thought we were seeing was not what we were seeing. Basically, we have a government that was like Professor Diago and his dwarf small boy. And you remember when we were kids, that guy was visiting schools, that magician, Professor Diago and his dwarf small boys. Sleight of hand governance. Now you see me, now you don't. Obu yaya, ozi oza. That's what we've been led to believe. My brother Kojo Poku, who wanted to be president, was in Shira FM and saying that there's no hardship in Ghana, it's our lifestyle. When I heard it, I thought it was shocking. But
why is it shocking?
No, Kojo.
Let's not have that conversation. Make your submission. Let's
no, I am happy. I'm making a submission.
Show into that conversation. Because I said it and I
you wanted to be president. No, so I'm making my point. When I finish, you respond.
Leave that out.
No, because
here.
But fortunately, you have the opportunity to respond.
Yes, respond to me.
But you don't want to. What I'm begging him is that I don't want to turn the show to that conversation. That's what I'm begging him.
That's fine. You don't want to interrupt me because if you interrupt me, you won't talk. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Leave that conversation.
You wanted to be president. No, hold on.
Leave me out of it.
Don't interrupt me, my brother. You wanted to be president of this country. So if you had been given,
don't worry.
You wanted to be president. No, I'm including you. Why? You wanted to be president of this country.
But I'm not.
So if you were given the mandate, you would have told us that there's no hardship in this country. It's our lifestyle. It is the same gaslighting that you people were doing. That's why you lost the election. So I'm heading somewhere. Let me finish. When I finish, you can respond. Because maybe you will run again. Maybe this time they will give you the mandate. Then you come and tell us that there's no hardship. But I'm heading to a point. You people told us that, Randy, one of the most shocking things I have heard, and let me be fair to you, I haven't heard you say that, was that the cedi to dollar ratio under the MPP was better than the cedi to dollar ratio ratio under the NDC, because even though it had gone from 4 to 17, when you do percentages, it is better than that of the NDC. Do you pay your bills in ratios? Do we pay our bills in ratios? The businessman who is in Swami today, who has to order car parts from his contemporaries or his business counterparts in Holland, if he wants $10,000 today, it is 170,000 cedis. Sorry, 17,000. No, 170,000. Sorry. Under President Mahama, it was 40,000. So how do you proceed to tell us that the cedi to dollar ratio is better under you? We had a vice president, now outgoing vice president, who was the head of the economic management team. He came to tell us about the solid economic management team, basically sneered at the NDC only for his team to go from solid state to gaseous state without even passing latent heat of vaporization. Kojo, you were the head of the energy policy committee of the campaign. All the things that were happening in the energy sector, you people chose to come and gaslight it away. Randy, a few weeks ago, they were going around changing meters. When they come and take your meter, irrespective of how much money you had on the meter, and they give you a new meter, and that new meter has 100 cedis. That's it. When they took mine, I had 500 cedis. Up to today, when you go, they tell you wait for 7 days, it will show on your app. Oh wait, and this it will happen. This will happen. It doesn't happen. So assuming when they came, you had 3,000 cedis on it. What do you do? And all that money is in the system. It's with them. I don't know if that's what they are going to use to pay for the meters, which in my view was completely unnecessary to change meters at this time, because the app is still not working. So what did you change the meters for? And am I wrong if I assume that you people simply wanted to change the meters so that you can go give kickbacks to somebody? What was the need to do that? But as we speak today, no, I'm put, because you could have been, you could have been president-elect. You could have been president-elect today.
You're on a panel with
no, he could have been president-elect today.
Yeah.
A very dangerous occurrence.
So let's make
yeah. So let me just round up. So, Randy, since he's pleading that I leave him out of my submissions, I'll just round up by saying that to the Ghanaian people, I don't want to say thank you, because you have given us work to do. we will endeavor to do that work as hard as we can to turn your lives around. Many of you are suffering. Many of you have been victims of the DDEP. Most of us have been victims of the DDEP. There are teachers, lawyers, doctors, retired nurses, retired judges, even the former Chief Justice who was appointed by this government, my own Aunt Auntie Sophia, has taken her chair and gone to the Ministry of Finance to ask for her pension. That's how bad it is. So when I hear that there's no hardship in Ghana, it shocks me. Many of you have been victims of illnesses because of our poisoned waters, because of a galamsey, unrepentant, unbridled poisoning of our water bodies by officials of this administration who have no regret in doing it and come and sit on TV and show us their gold bars. Want to be with solid gold, solid money, and liquid, and solid gold as a result of poisoning the Nimri Forest Reserve, which is the source of the Tano River. Randy, I could sit here and go on and on. You could give me one day. I could go on and on and on. I won't even begin to talk about the 47 taxes they have instituted on us, including COVID tax, which appears twice on every bill. I won't even begin to talk about the finance minister who actually makes money from borrowing for us. So he continued borrowing, and then his deputy also started making money from it. There are two companies were borrowing money on our behalf. Yet, we are being told there's no hardship in Ghana. Randy, let me hand over to the no hardship.
Comment on the transition.
Oh, the transition team will do their work. There's one thing that I can assure you about the National Democratic Congress. We have the men and the women. We just don't talk about it. If you look at the names on that transition team, you know that those are people who can. And I am not saying it lightly. There are some people on there who have a track record of making things happen. Julius, Deborah is there, he's the co-chair. Madame Valerie Sawyer. I don't know anybody on this planet who's more thorough than her. You know, Dr. Mane Boama, Eagle Eyes himself, is there. General Mosquito is there, Fifi Kwete, a very erudite and very smart Fifi Kwete. And Fifi Kwete had 4 years at A level. Very sharp guy. He's there. It's not easy to even get a B at A level. He had 4 years. He's there. So we don't come and sit here and do minim. We actually make it happen. And so we will be there. We will begin the task of salvaging this country, resetting this country, recover everything that has been stolen from the Ghanaian people, and set this country right, provide jobs for the teeming youth that finish school and have no jobs. And everything that President Mahama has promised will happen. Those obnoxious taxes, 47 taxes. Why would you put 47 taxes on us when you came and said there were nuisance taxes? You added more nuisance to the nuisance. So let me stop so that my future president can talk.
All right, Kujo.
Robert Randy, I don't know if Kujo came because he heard I was on and he came to attack me. Because this thing that he's doing, I don't get it. We are on a panel to discuss issues. You even forgot about the issue to be discussed. And you went on a personal attack. Look, no, you did. No, stop. You did. You see, the reason I said it's a personal attack.
You said something,
but
and did you not say it?
Yes, I did, and I'm here.
Did you say it?
I did, and I'm here. So let's not.
So I'm
make
just
it
reminding Ghanaians that you can be president.
I am irrelevant, and I, Kojo Poku, have credibility. And when I say things, I say them and I own them. Look, we politicians like to have soundbites and dog whistles. You are refusing to understand that the campaigning is over. This is what you call reality check. As President Mahama rightfully said it, and is captured in one of the front pages, that the reality will determine the way forward, not all the things that were said in a 120-day communique of social binding with government. Because I can assure you that most of those things put in that thing for the 120 days cannot be done. And my brother, when you say...
Which one?
Oh, quite a number of them. I'll get there to a minute. I'll discuss that. Okay. But when you say them, ECG meters being replaced, it's not... Who is the them? The them is not government that was replacing them. It's ECG vendors who were replacing meters. So when you say them keeping the money, today, whether it's President John Dramani Mahama president or Nana-Addo is president, those meters will be replaced. If you have problems with how your credit on there were not transferred properly, deal with ECG. But let's stop making certain things political issues. Because, my brother, in a month's time, you will be in government. And I'll be sitting, and I don't think you'll be appreciative if I start pointing these things at you. Because you've got nothing to do with it. Government have got nothing to do with it. ECG meters, the reason they are being changed is that the firmware has expired. And it was creating more problems than leaving it there. So whether it was being changed a month before election or was being changed 2 days to election, there is nothing anybody can do about it because those meters had expired. The firmwares are no longer doing the work they are supposed to do. So when you don't understand something, please, let's explain it to you and don't come in attacking that them. Who is going to go and take money from and make it them? Now, quickly on that point.
Tell me what I do.
Quickly on.
Look, I am a very intelligent man. Randy, let me just tell you something. I am a civil engineer of 32 years. Don't tell me what I understand and what I don't understand. You are heading the wrong way. Randy, changing our meters. Randy, no, hold on. Changing our meters. Okay, go ahead.
You see, quickly on the issue of I said there's no hardship in Ghana. And the caveat to that was that it is our lifestyle. Now, this conversation, we can have it anywhere, anytime, but I don't think we should spend precious time on TV trying to put political interference on when somebody says that people's lifestyle create the hardship they are in. It's a thing that everybody says, just that Kojo Poku says it and everybody is happy to put it on social media and think that what? It's a reality.
No, I watched that video.
Yes.
And the impression I got was that you were with the presenter,
yes,
the journalist. And the journalist was dealing with you on cost of living.
Yes.
And looking at prices.
Yes.
And he was looking at prices.
Yes.
And on the basis of those issues he was raising, cost of living, you then said that, look, it's not really an issue of cost of living.
Yes.
You know, it's also about lifestyle.
Lifestyle, yes.
Yes. So I'm sure that's the point.
That's the point. Yes, exactly.
So it means that you are refusing to accept that times are hard, that the cost of living is gone high, and that you think that people are suffering because of their lifestyle issues.
No, that's not the point. The point is, you see, on that flyer that went round, there are two flyers. One that was done by mysterious people, we don't know who did it, and there's one that was actually done by the station.
Yeah,
right?
I watched.
Exactly. Exactly. So the conversation, as you rightfully put it,
Jantua, right?
Yes. The conversation, as you put it, was about cost of living. My assertion, and I still hold true to it, you might disagree with me, is that people's lifestyle today is what is causing the hardship. Because you can afford
not
that you see, you can in economics, right? There are alternatives. In economics, you can prefer today. I don't watch DSTV because I think DSTV price has gone too high, right? So I've cut my DSTV. Somebody might choose to still watch DSTV and have the full bouquet, or somebody might still be on DSTV and come down to compact. Okay, so it's
what will I replace with Kenke or Gary?
There's a lot of replacement. It doesn't necessarily mean that Kenke or Gary are the basic necessities. Food, business, that people, if you remember, you said you watched the video.
Yes.
After I said that, my next explanation I gave was that my uncle has 3 shops. He gave the shop to a friend to man for him. And the friend, when we all knew him to eat the basic food, had 3 girlfriends and was ordering Chinese for them. So the conversation was not about me mimicking or taking for granted people's lifestyle. But my point to that question was that you can adjust accordingly to fit your situation.
Okay.
That was the basic.
I mean, if I were advising, and I'm not saying that I am capable of advising anybody. I need to advise myself. Is that, look, first of all, the reality about hardship, cost of living, going through the roof is real.
Yes.
The issue of people's lifestyle as a contributory factor, or the fact that you can adjust, is also something that can be looked at.
Yes.
But you cannot use lifestyle to deny the fact that...
No, it's not denying.
Because that's... No, when I watched you...
Yes, that's your interpretation of it.
No, when I watched you, that's the impression I got.
That's the impression you got. That's it. What I'm saying is that on the other side...
The guy said,
on the other side... I say move 5 kg. And I said, why are you buying... Yes, exactly. So that goes to the point.
Yeah, but even if you want to buy... Even the Conco, the price is also...
I agree, but you see, his thought was that he wants to go and buy a 5 kg. And my point was, going to the same lifestyle, why, if you can't, do you have to buy 5 kg? You can buy a Mukonko.
No, but the Conco is also gone through the roof.
Point, it doesn't matter, but that's what you can afford. You don't need to buy 5 kg. And I use
Even before, if that's what my household needs.
Oh, but you know what I'm talking about. What I'm saying to you is that adjusting your lifestyle accordingly will now let you live better. But this conversation of this hardship, and yesterday I mentioned it, in the context of politics, it's a dog whistle. Okay? Meaning that no government has been able to reduce hardship. No government has been able to basically make equal opportunities. No government has been able to now do the things we say when we are
So what's the point you're making?
The point I'm making now is that when I said it, it was put out there as a campaign thing where, oh, Kujupoku is insensitive. It's the reality.
No, but that's the impression I got.
No, that's fine, but it's the reality.
Because
the reality is
what
that
I saw was you refusing.
No, I'm
to
not refusing.
Accept
no,
that.
But if you watch the full video, at the latter end, I said that, look, let's stop this conversation because somebody will interpret it and say that Kojopoku is taking people for granted and taking. I said that was the video. No, let's get back to this. Now, in terms of this issue of transition, I think that in every adversity, we find our way out of it.
Right.
It happened in 2016. It's happening now. And I think the right thing to do, I don't think whether we are robots or we are no robots, we really need to spell certain things out that needs to happen.
In black and white.
In black and white. It has to be done. Because leaving discretion, people, look, circumstances determines discretion, right? Now, if you realize that it has happened in 2016 and the MPP side complained, and it's happening again. And for me, I don't even see why it's an issue. Because if you discuss it cordially, right? And if you read the Safumafu letter refers to the fact that it was discussed cordially, but the letter was prompting that the agreement reached is not being followed. That's what the input of the Safumafu letter is. Safumafu didn't go on to say that, look, you don't have the right to do it, so don't do it. Because the government is in place till the 7th of January, the following year. So they have a right to do whatever they want. As my brother Felix put it, it's better you discuss it now than to bring them in, and we are going to have to come in and basically review and people get into trouble. But that is the choice people make.
But the essence of transition, really, is for the outgoing to apprise the incoming of what the reality is.
Yes. But it doesn't stop them from doing their work.
No, so within that context, this is why I say, this is why I bring the issue of robots. Within that context, anything that has implication on the incoming government ought to be discussed.
Yes.
So that if, for example, it is such is of an emergency nature, and therefore cannot wait and must be done, that conversation must be had.
Yes.
And then both sides agree that look, it is in our mutual interest that we do this.
Yes.
If it is not something which is, so for example, you have a wage bill. The wage bill is a critical component as far as our expenditure is concerned. If after 7 years and 11 months, you all of a sudden realize that you need to fill hundreds and thousands of positions, critical positions, having an impact on the wage bill, it's important that that discussion is had.
I agree.
You understand me?
Yes.
So that you now explain, or you now inform the incoming government as to how come this appointment, for example, are so critical that they can't wait.
Yes,
and we need to have them.
But Randy, the conversation is one part. The authority to do
you know
it.
what I'm saying?
I'm
just saying that,
yes.
But my whole thing is about how unprincipled.
Well,
hold on, how unprincipled we can be, because you cannot on the 17th of December have a position that, although position of government statistician is vacant, the outgoing government has up until January 6 midnight, and therefore has every authority to appoint. You think that is such a critical appointment that it cannot be done without the express engagement and approval of the incoming president. You even go further to say that even high-ranking officials and appointments into MDAs, you think that all those things cannot be done on the blind side of the incoming president. So all those things must cease. And that even those that are emergency in nature, there ought to be a discussion. And just what he said,
but Randy, that's not the constitution and our thing says. Well, I agree with you in what you are saying. What I'm trying to say is that, look, nothing happens overnight. This issue of this gentleman being appointed and letter being given out, I don't think it was just something that was just drummed up after the election. It was something that's probably in the process. The office of the president, and this issue came up in 2016. The office of the president doesn't cease because his party loses election. The party and the flag bearer who went for election has lost. The president is president until the midnight of 6 January.
Yes.
What you are saying, which I agree with you, is that, yes, I have the mandate to do these things, but I will inform you. Informing you doesn't stop me from doing it. But it is for you to know that this is what I'm doing. And then that discussion can be had.
Yes.
Whether you agree with me that I should stop it or not stop it. It's one thing or that. But I personally do not agree with the mass recruitment, which happens the last minute of, because what are you recruiting? Unless my brother Felix seems to know something we don't, right? He's saying that they have not done medicals, which we all don't know if it's true. But the government, when sworn in on the 7th of January, has all the powers and all the documentation on the desk to determine the right thing that's done. There's one thing in Ghana that is for free. It's snitching, right? People who within the institution will come and give you free information on how these guys came in the last minute. So you can determine and annul that from due process. But for us to dwell so much on it in transition until we amend the Transition Act and put it in black and white, I think
but can't we, you see, shouldn't we? So this transition black and white, I hear you. And I agree with those who hold that position, because I also hold a position. And when I speak with some of the people who were part of the Constitution, they also regret the kind of extensive discretionary authority that they gave to, for example, the president. Because in the Fourth Republic, it has been abused.
Yes.
And especially in the last 8 years, it's gone from bad to worse. If there's anything beyond worse, it's gone there. The exercise of discretionary authority. And so that is where the issue of put everything in black and white comes in. Otherwise, even in the absence of a law, is it not appropriate to ask a government that if this was your position during transition when you were coming in, and you believe this, and these were the words you used to describe the exercise, and these were the words and adjectives you used to describe why things ought to be run by you, and that only things that are of an emergency nature ought to be tolerated, what is it that will make you abandon those principles when it is now your turn to exit? The same principles you held when you were coming in, all of a sudden you abandon those principles.
And government, before they came in, said they would do that they've actually done. What is it that they said before that they would do, that they have actually lived by? Nothing. You see, there's a difference between us human beings and animals. It's very simple. We have common sense. Right? Common sense. At the heart of everything we do, there should be common sense. You were the one who reported a few weeks ago that the presidency had ordered 18 SUVs. Am I lying?
Yes. And
Tundras. Why would an outgoing government do that? What was that for? Why? Because this government was definitely going to hand over to another government, whether it was their party or another. Right. So this government was going. What did they order those cars for? Let's not forget those cars cost money, and a whole lot of money. So what you are talking about is no different.
So could you, what would you say to those who say that you, when they were complaining, you appointed Domelevo as Auditor General last minute? Randy, why would you want to complain today?
Randy.
Yes.
I remember one of the very few times that Napo came to your show, right? He said that Domelevo was appointed in consultation with the incoming president. Indeed, there was a phone call that was made to Domelevo, and the incoming president approved of his appointment. What we are saying is that at this late hour, let us simply use common sense to approach some of these things, and let's not railroad stuff through. Because there seems to be, and I've heard a lot of rumors that even some of the CEOs are being given new appointments because of that Supreme Court law. Remember? Exactly. But if a president doesn't want to work with you, what can a Supreme Court law do for you? What can they do? These are the same people who threatened people during the transition period to leave their office. If you remember, Dominic Little went to sit on a radio station and threatened me that I should leave my office before they got there. I'm simply saying that, and what Felix is saying is that there may even be a need to actually do it. Right? There may be a need to do it. So if it's in consultation with the transition team and they can find an appropriate candidate, that I don't think that should be a problem. But on the issue of the appointment of Yao Domelevo, the incoming president was consulted. Randy, when it comes to some of these things, right, you can see clearly that there is an effort. There's an effort to handcuff the incoming government in such a way that they are left with basically hot potatoes that they are still going to have to hold. You understand? And that is what we're talking about. But, Randy, let me just address something respectfully to my brother here. Could you? I'm a civil engineer of 32 years. I have a business administration degree from a very good school. There are a lot of things that I don't understand. But I also understand that there are many things that have gone on under this administration that should never have seen the light of day. You tell me that changing meters has nothing to do with government. It's an ECG thing. Why should the firmware expire anyway? Do you remember that there was in times when we had meters that were analog? The Hubtel agreement with ECG, is it ECG or is it government? How is it that ECG have gotten to a point, Randy, where we are being told that they can no longer collect their own revenue? So Hubtel need to collect their revenue, take some of it and give it back to them. That's who? That's ECG. My brother, if Vice President Bawumia had won this election, you would have been most likely being the energy minister. Is this what you are going to come and tell us? Let me tell you something. And if you haven't done it before, do it. Go back home. Turn off all your appliances. Put your TPN on your meter into neutral. And shine your light onto the meter and see whether it's still not running.
It does.
Exactly.
Yes.
That
but
is
there's
called,
a reason for that.
Well, there's a reason. Let me explain it to you. If you say...
You're going to explain to me?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
It is called service fees.
Yes, but we all know that.
Okay. So, invariably, when you people tell us that the meters are free, they aren't.
No, but nobody said the meter is free.
Oh, the meter...
Who told you the meter is free?
Please, Randy, please. Have you not heard ECG coming to tell us that they are replacing the meter is free?
No. Nobody told you the meter is free.
If you haven't heard it...
That you don't have to pay up front.
But you are paying.
Yes, but you don't have to pay up front.
What I'm telling you, what I'm saying to you, is that many of us who are not as smart as you, right? May quite motor school for 1 to upper 6, but I'm not as smart as you. See it and we get upset.
Why?
We get upset because we see it as a monopoly that is beholden to a government that is insensitive to the plight of the people and keeps simply using sleight of hand to take from us and give nothing back. That is what I'm trying to tell you. So if you come and tell me that I don't understand, let me tell you what I understand. What I understand is that I'm paying money to an entity that doesn't have my interest at heart. All they are thinking about is what they want to build for me. You understand the energy sector and estimate how many people's money will be left on those meters they collected who wouldn't go for it. So if you were doing an honest exchange and an honest transaction, when you changed that meter, I should have had my 500 cedis on it, not 100. That got dissipated in seconds. That is what has made you people lose that election in the manner in which you lost it. Explain to me, since I don't understand, how it is that after all these years, electricity corporation can now not collect their own revenues. Habtel are so smart, they need to collect the revenues and give some to the ECG. And you see...
That thing is not true. What is not true? That Habtel collects revenue. Habtel does not collect revenue.
What does it do?
The platform... Look, now nobody pays cash to ECG. All ECG payments are electronic. The system on which all the payments sits was developed by Habtel. It doesn't mean Habtel collects the money.
So where does the money go to?
The money goes to the banks. That's where the money goes to.
Which banks?
All the banks that ECG have. So before, you can go to the ECG vendor and buy credit in cash. Now you can't buy credit in cash anymore. You have to pay by electronic. You have to pay by Momo. So if the money goes through MTN now does
everything. You can still buy it in cash at the vendors. You can buy in cash.
Some vendors.
Yeah, you can buy in cash.
Some vendors.
Yes.
Cash every day.
No, some vendors. I'm saying some vendors, but some vendors, not all vendors. Some vendors. Most vendors now, they have to pay for, no before, right? The vendors have to go and deposit cash in the district office. The vendors have to pay, they cannot pay cash. Because ECG now does not, district offices do not receive the cash. So the vendors have to pay through Momo.
So
you've asked a question.
Let me ask you a question. Why is it? Because let us admit that Habtel are collecting.
They are not collecting money.
So are you telling me that they just did a transaction and were paid?
My brother, the Habtel, look, me and you are in this state. Your government has won power. Yeah. You're gonna go in there and see them. Habtel is not a collection agency for ECG. It's a fact. Let's not try to put words. Sure? It's 100%. But already, you can ask for the documents today. Let the transition ask for the document today. Look, what I'm saying to you is that this issue of Habtel receiving a certain percentage for transactions that go through their system. Last time I was here, I told you that I don't speak on Habtel because I don't know the details of the transaction. Those are things that we should look at.
If you don't know, then I'm telling you, they collect a percentage.
My brother, but this different from them being the one collecting money, and this different.
So are you telling me that ECG could not have been empowered to do that and collect their money? No. This is the same thing they did.
They were not doing it. They were not doing it.
They have their own.
No, they didn't. Look, my brother, look. We all have all the things you are talking about, right? It's a problem with a company called ECG. It's not a problem with government. You can go a step further and say, oh, but government was the one that should supervise. Yes,
No, but government owns ECG.
I agree. So that's what I'm saying.
Appoints
That's
the
what
board
I'm
of
saying.
ECG.
That's the next conversation.
Yes.
That's the next conversation. We can sit here and have that conversation. Where has ECG been put in the right stead in the last 7 years? No. Does ECG need attention? Yes. Do I believe that there are certain things that should be done? Yes. And if you rightfully said, if anybody has asked me to oversee ECG or I see the sector, I've always said, and the manifesto we did came up with private sector participation. It's heavy in trying to take the retail out of ECG so that the proper thing is done. All the things that you are not happy with will be addressed. But let's not make it as a function of government. We can blame government for poor supervision on ECG taking it to where it is today. But there's a company called ECG. And that is where, Randy, yes, but we see in the 120 days that I talked of, in the 120 days, the social contract with the government that NDC has put, it includes ring fencing all debts, or ring fencing all energy sector debt within 120 days. It's in there. Yes. That cannot be done.
In 4 months.
Mark it on the wall, it cannot, because what ring fencing the energy sector debt means is that government is now bringing into the government pot another set of debt which the IMF will not allow you to do. So we can't do it. They are state-owned enterprises,
But
please. These are limited liability companies.
Did you hear President-elect Mahama say?
You go and renegotiate.
Yes.
Well, that's fine. But what I'm saying to you is that, let me...
Wait. As genuine as you are trying to sound.
But I am genuine.
Wait, hold on.
Trying to sound.
No.
I'm very genuine.
Okay, you are genuine.
Thank you.
You are genuine. But you see, you people have prior bad acts.
You people.
We MPP.
So, gentlemen, just hold on. So there's a gentleman that I've been speaking to on this show over the last 3 years, especially on issues of energy. And we know that the energy sector issues are key issues as far as this government is concerned. He has written an open letter to President-elect H.E. John Mahama. He's the executive director of ASEP, and Ben Boachi has joined me via Zoom. So let me have this conversation. I'm sure that the last bit of our conversation will even come up. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Doc.
How are you doing?
The panel in the studio, I'm well. I hope you're well too.
Apologies for our inability to qualify for the AFCON.
It is well. Better luck next time.
No, Ben loves football.
Kojo hasn't been in the studio. He hasn't been in the sports stadium in a while, so he doesn't.
The last game he was at the stadium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so Ben, you yesterday you penned an open letter to the president-elect, and after congratulating him and all that, you raised some issues: bloated agencies, ECG losses, downstream waste, upstream sector, and these were things that you would want him to address. I've also seen another document where you, together with other CSOs, I've also asked the president-elect to also look at some critical things, especially with regards to corruption and anti-corruption. But let's focus on the energy issues, and let's take the issues one by one. First of all, why did you have to write an open letter?
Yeah, so thanks for this. I think I thought that, the work that civil society has been doing over the years, particularly from our side of the equation, trying to prompt policy actions to fix the energy sector, which never got any results. We thought that if there is a new government or a new president coming in, we needed to draw attention to some of those specifics and also highlight how dire some of those challenges are on the fiscal situation of Ghana and also the future prospects of our country. So I thought I should crystallize a lot of the key issues and bring them to the attention of the soon-to-be #1 gentleman of the country. So that even before he assumes office, he has a sense of the challenges at hand and how to deal with them. So in essence, that's what I tried to do. But there is nothing in that letter that is essentially new, but it was sort of a reminder of, the challenges that we've been speaking about on the power sector issues, the oil and gas sector issues, the downstream issues, which are becoming so grave. And if we don't address them urgently, we risk, going back into bankruptcy. And therefore, I thought I should put those together.
Okay, so let me read this from your letter. You say that the energy sector has been systematically decimated, enriching a few while the public bears the burden through the budget, levies, and high margins. Just to give you a sense of the gravity, the annual revenue from the oil sector is insufficient to cover the annual under-recoveries in the power sector. This is despite the public paying approximately 3 billion cedis annually in levies and margins. In essence, the people are paying to plug holes that are leaking into the pockets of the revenue collectors. When you take office on January 7, you will inherit an energy sector burdened by an overall waste of over 50 billion cedis a year. And you say this is how this manifests. So you start with bloated agencies. Let's start with that.
Doc, it's really incredible how some of these agencies have been bloated over time. You're talking about GMPC that had just about 250 people. And now today they are, closer to 700. Some even put it at 800. We don't know the number yet. Ghana Gas, the same situation. BOSS, the same situation. MPA, the same situation. So these agencies have been bloated beyond limits that can actually generate efficiency. So if you look at their recurrent expenditure, management fees that they are paying is sometimes quadrupled, and it's not even doing new things. I mean, Ghana Gas hasn't set up a new gas plant. That requires more engineers, more technical hands, more managerial staff. They are just expanding the management team and recruiting people who in most cases are not even doing anything productive to help the country. The same with GMPC, NPA, and the rest of it. The way you deal with that inefficiency is not to come and gloss over those inefficiencies. You need to deal with it. And in fact, even the IMF program, efficiency improvement in these institutions was part of the program, but nothing has been done yet. They keep telling the IMF that they are in the process, the consultants are doing the review, and it's taking forever, because there's no energy to actually deal with it. So we have to actually look at how inefficient these institutions have been and be able to cut the waste. I mean, you cannot. It doesn't make sense to have, for example, an accounts office and a finance office. What is the difference? And have directorates for them. To have a technical unit and have engineering unit, what is the essence for it? It's just creating positions for people. We used not to have these elaborate deputy managers and deputy executives in all these agencies. Now you have 2, 3 in some cases. They are all layers of inefficiency that have been built into the architecture of these agencies. And the way to improve efficiency and to cut the waste is to let those positions go. So you have one position that perhaps can pay 5, 10, and sometimes even 15 people, because you take out the V8, the fuel, the high salaries for those positions, and you are saving so much money. So that is something that we really have to pay attention to and dig deeper and make sure that we reduce the inefficiency from that side of things.
Okay.
I also talked about, the energy sector that has actually become an albatross on Ghana, where we are subsidizing the power sector for the politics of it, all right? Where people are supposed to pay their bills. Those who are supposed to collect the money are not doing enough to collect the money. What they collect is poorly accounted for and shrouded in dubious contracts. And I heard you mention the Haptel transaction. And the fact of the matter is that Haptel collects the money, puts the money into their accounts. And I'm surprised that that is in contention today, because the contract is there, it's available, it's online, it's circulating on social media everywhere. They collect the money, they take 0.95% of that as their service fee, they take 0.85% as transfer fee to transfer the money from their account to ECG's account. They say it costs 0.085% of that. Beyond that, they take another percentage to share to the other telcos and service providers in the space. So cumulatively, about 3% of the average 1 billion that is collected goes to Haptel for its settlements and other things, which used not to be the case when ECG had its own engineers, had its own power up, and they were collecting the revenues, all right, at that level. So these are wastes that we need to cut off immediately, and not just cut off, but to probe into how that actually happens. That if you are a manager of a state institution, the state has invested billions into ECG. In the last 3 years alone, we've done more than 1.2 billion of investment in ECG. We are not seeing the results. And then somebody says that in spite of those risks that have been taken by the state, a company that hasn't borne any of those risks, that hasn't spent on a meter, they haven't, bought a pole before, should collect the money and put it into their account and decide what to do with the money. All right? And they set up a fund that is controlled by Haptel and ECG management off the records of ECG. I mean, it cannot continue to happen. And these are things that we expect that, right from day one, we want actions from the president and whoever the appointees would be to ensure that we can stop these leakages and stop the budget subsidizing what they shouldn't be doing, in essence. And I say that all these wastes that we are seeing, it's not as if people are bereft. They don't know what they are doing. Systematically, you see people deliberately decimating the budget through these kinds of schemes because the finance ministry will pay, because they don't want the power to go off, and therefore government will pay. We have to stop that kind of thing from happening. And we expect that there will be action right from day one to reverse these trends, go back to the original plan that we started from 2014 to introduce the private sector that puts in the money. Private sector must put in the money and recover their money, not just to come and hang around and the state invest and they reap where they have not sown. That's the kind of private sector participation we want to see going forward, so that government doesn't need to be buying meters. Today, we are procuring loans, $250 million from the World Bank to get ECG to be buying meters. All right. Meanwhile, on every bill, there is a levy, a margin that goes for meter procurement. And we have been paying this forever. And yet, we still keep borrowing and they keep replacing the meters. And these are people who travel. These are people who have lived abroad. They have homes in the US, in the UK. And for 10 years, 15 years, they have not changed their meter. How come in Ghana they change meters every year, every 2 years? And we think it is fine. It is just procurement and robbing the public purse in such an egregious manner. And I think we cannot keep watching this unfold with a new government. And we thought we needed to prompt some of these leakages and hope that it will be fixed with the mandate that has been granted the president.
So Ben, on this one, on the issues by the power sector in ECG, you end that bit by speaking about what you refer to as two hot spots in ECG: procurement abuse and exchange rate manipulation. What do you mean by this being two hot spots that as far as you're concerned, are misgovernance and perhaps are deliberate schemes to fleece the nation?
I've said this and I'll say it again. There is nothing that is procured in ECG that is not at a minimum 2-3 times higher than the shelf price. That is procurement abuse. All right? If you are procuring in bulk, it should be cheaper than the shelf price. But it ends up to be at a minimum. Some are even 7 times higher than the shelf price. We need to fix that. All right? The exchange rate is a major hotspot in ECG. And we have found that ECG's forex trading is extremely suspicious. They create a lot of losses. At one point, we saw ECG buying dollars at 13.9 when the going Bank of Ghana rate was around 11. And we have been asking this, even the Bank of Ghana has not acted upon it. When you have a company buying as much as $47 million a month, the Bank of Ghana needs to be interested where they get their dollar from, how they get their dollar from, right? They don't check them, and they keep, abusing the procurement of the dollars, to the benefit of individuals. We need to get into that kind of thing and ensure that if you're buying that much dollar, the government will make provision at the central bank for those dollars to be procured, instead of ECG going to the open market and buying from money transfer agents and the rest of it, instead of using the central bank when PRC is approved, using the central bank rate. So those are the key hotspots that we need to fix beyond the technical issues that they have, which also is engineered by inefficiency in management. They keep procuring meters, the meters don't work because they will always get government to go procure loan for them to go buy new meters to come and fix them. They keep doing the same things and they are not getting the results. We keep throwing money at the same management and we're not getting the results. We need to reform them. We need to trim down the entire governance architecture in the ECG and let it work. For example, how can you have a legal director and then you have prosecution director? What are they doing? They're just creating positions and milking the agency instead of being efficient and making it work for the people.
Now, you also speak about downstream waste. What do you mean by that? What are you referring to? Downstream waste.
We have a paper that will be publishing very soon to actually crystallize all the waste that is happening in the downstream. It's extremely bizarre. Over 6 billion cedis a year is controlled by the NPA on procurement, when the regulator has become a procurement entity, all right, where they can charge margins of the people in the name of transporting fuel, in the name of marking fuel, in the name of tracking the product from one depot to the tank of the consumer. And cumulatively, we are even paying more than, we're paying more to transport a product from, say, Tema to your tank in Accra than how much it costs for the product to come from Rotterdam on insurance, all right? Because of these kind of abuse in the downstream that the consumer is paying for. And the worst part is that these billions are not even accounted for in our tax to GDP calculation. So you are charging the people more, you are giving them essentially a black tax, but it is not accounted for as how much tax government generates from the people. And you see these revenues aligned to sole source procurement of people that are preferred by the system, not through any competitive arrangement, but just at the whims of those in authority and the political businesses that can be aligned to some of those procurement. We need to fix all of those things to optimize the resources. And I dare say that there is so much revenue in the downstream. If we were to optimize that space, we could get money to do a lot of the projects that may be struggling to get funds in our country.
You end with the upstream sector. What are your issues there?
No, the upstream has been dead, essentially, as far as investment is concerned. And if we are to reactivate it, we need to bring the investor confidence back and assure them that government would respect investment, government would interpret its laws rightly, and ensure that the risks that are borne, by these investors will not be further, risks by decisions of the sector. And that's what we have seen. Government has focused on speculative investment, people promising when they can't deliver, and they can't even see actual investment. All right, and we need to change that. We need to make sure that those who can actually invest are incentivized, whether they are willing to pay bribes or not. We will look at the national interest and get those investors into the country. And they are knocking, really, at the door. And we are hoping that we will put up a transparent process going forward to unlock those investments into Ghana's oil and gas sector. Because we are already declining, production is declining, and if we don't get investment to actually start reversing that trend, we're going to struggle, because a lot of our capital budget now is linked to the oil revenues. And if we don't have the oil revenues coming in the next few years, the budget is really going to struggle given the fiscal context that we actually have.
So your letter ends by saying that in the list what you expect from President-elect Mahama is that by the time that the transition team concludes its work, the Ghanaian people should know exactly how much debt is outstanding in the energy sector. Is it to suggest that there's no transparency with respect to the debt situation in the energy sector?
There are a few numbers that are thrown around, but nobody knows exactly how much is owed. We need to crystallize it. We need to bring everything together. How much are we owing the IPPs? How much are we owing? I mean, I know a couple of them. I know we owe about $400 million to Stanchart on gas consumption. I know the IPP debt is in the region of about $1.5 billion. But there are a lot of things that are still outstanding. How much do we owe in judgment debts? We had about $300 million judgment debt cumulatively. How much have been paid down? How much do we still have outstanding? The debts that we have with Stanchart, how much interest are we paying on them? The IPPs and the rest. So we need a consolidation of all these debts so we know that it is $2 billion, it's $3 billion. And then we can fashion a way to actually deal with that debt going forward. And I'm hoping that this transition period will be the right time for those numbers to be put together.
All right. So the NDC side of the transition team, and I'll end with you on this one, has raised red flags about some 240 million cedis that they say they have reason to believe ECG intends paying. And this money is not going to an IPP. In fact, speaking with Felix, he claims that that payment is intended for Haptel. And they are asking for a stop to that payment. They said they would not have had a problem if, for example, that payment were going to any of the IPPs to reduce the debt there. But to the extent that it's not going there and the information is that it's going to Haptel, they think it's a significant amount of money. That kind of payment cannot go to that particular entity, and that the ECG, and for that matter, government ought to stop any attempt at making that payment.
I don't know the information Felix has on that. I don't have the details. I know some payments have been made in the past couple of months, and been ramped up. Of course, ECG has suppliers that they have to pay them if they are properly contracted, and we need to pay. Am I on?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay,
I can hear you.
Yeah, they have their suppliers that they actually have to pay. If they are legitimate payment, they have to pay. But on the angle of the Haptel one, I don't see how that occasions, because Haptel pays itself essentially. Because when they collect the money, they take a portion, undefined portion of the revenue in the contract, it's defined in the contract, into a fund, which is managed by ECG management and Haptel management. So they essentially pay themselves. I don't think that would be a problem with the kind of structure that exists at this point. What we need to know is how much is actually in that fund that ECG and some few management members of ECG controls. We need to know how much has gone into that fund since Haptel began collecting revenues. That transparency is extremely important. Of course, some of the contractors are indicated, whether they are paid or they are going to be paid. Some forensic examination of those contracts will be required to actually clean up the procurement practices of ECG going forward. So, of course, they want to stop some of the payments that are afoot, but if they are legitimate payments, I don't think this is a problem.
With all the issues around the cash waterfall mechanism, would you want to see the transition do something about it in terms of the lack of transparency and all the issues that have been raised? Should they use the platform of the transition to make some demands in terms of documentation?
I think ECG will be a going concern. It won't go with the transition. Some broad understanding will be sought, I'm sure, at the transition level. But it is a major work to be done with cash waterfall mechanism. 62 bank accounts has to be investigated. You can't look at that within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm sure those are things that you will want the next energy minister to pursue and look closely into. How did they operationalize all those 62 accounts when there was an agreement for them to do a single account? Those are big things that may require forensic audit to actually go into those specifics in the coming months. But I doubt that the transition committee will be able to get all those numbers in this short period of time.
All right, Ben, thank you as always for joining us, and I'm sure that we'll still be talking about a lot of these issues in the energy sector. Thanks for your time this morning.
Good luck. Right,
so that's Ben Boache, Executive Director of ASEP. We'll take a break. When we return, my panel will continue with the conversation.
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing, but nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver.
Again. Hello, thank you for calling MTN.
This is Jerry, Jolly J for short.
How may I help?
I'm not happy with you guys at all. You've been giving Bongo gifts all the time.
Who is Bongo?
Oh, Bongo, my friend. He purchased in my room.
Oh.
You've been giving free gifts, but I don't.
That's MTN rewards, sir. Talk, text, browse, and more, and you get to redeem free call time or data by simply dialing *550#. And on Fridays, you can even get extra special rewards like food vouchers, shopping discounts, and much more.
Didn't tell me anything. Would you like to know how I got the name Jolly J?
That won't be necessary, Mr. Jolly. Calling customer care service doesn't give you points.
I'm gonna call my mom. I'll call my grandma. And I'll call my ex. That girl can talk, Papa. Hello, Mama. So what's the topic for today?
MTN.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bread for mattress anymore? Don't some sleepers then follow me.
It is part of the mattress we did it from there.
Yeah?
That'll be the mattress where the dead for.
Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like Ash Foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
Experience the enhanced protection of Star Motor Third Party Extra from Star Assurance, an enhanced motor third party insurance policy that provides cover for loss or damage to your vehicle's windscreens, side mirrors, back glass, and other glass components. Whether it's a crack or major damage, you can drive with the assurance that your vehicle is well protected. Our commitment to you includes affordable coverage options and a claims process that is both fast and straightforward, so you spend less time dealing with paperwork and more time on the road. Also, we have proudly partnered with Hope for Little Lives, an organization dedicated to supporting children in need. By choosing Star Motor Third Party Extra, you're protecting your vehicle and making a positive impact. Every policy you buy helps bring joy and support to children in underserved communities. Reach out to us now on our toll-free numbers 0800-177-177 or 0302-245-906 to sign up. Let us help you drive with peace of mind and purpose. Star Motor Third Party Extra. Drive with confidence, give back with heart.
Star Assurance, your solid partner.
Ho, ho, ho! Christmas is in the air. And it all starts at Electroma. Get amazing gift vouchers worth up to 5,000 Ghana cedis. Plus, incredible discount of up to 60% on all your favorite electronics. From smart TVs to washing machines, refrigerators, mobiles, laptops, and more. Get the best deals on all big brands like LG, Broom, Samsung, Philips, Orient, Infinix, Tecno, Tamashi, Pico, Itel, HP, and many more. Call or WhatsApp us on 0552 777 905. Celebrate Christmas full with goodies only at Electromart, your world of electronics.
Using Koa Mixture, Koa Plus Mixture, and Koa MT Mixture, brought to you by Koa Research and Manufacturing Limited Company, proudly made in Ghana. Formulated to support your general well-being. For those seeking immune system support, there is Koa Plus Mixture. Support your body's defenses and stay strong. When it comes to combating malaria, Koa MT Mixture will aid your treatments. For effective relief from malaria symptoms, try Koa MT Mixture. Koa Mixture, Koa Plus Mixture, and Koa MT Mixture are not recommended for pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children under 12 years. Always take a malaria test before using Koa MT Mixture. Choose Koa Mixture, Koa Plus Mixture, and Koa MT Mixture for your health needs. Available now at pharmacies nationwide. For bulk purchases, contact 0244 726611 or 0591 565 778. This advert is a...
How far with your internship?
To be honest, I'm so nervous about starting this new role on Monday.
Oh, please. I know you'll be great at it. You should be worried about what benefits they have. Example, do they have health insurance?
I doubt they will have that for interns. But no shaking. I have NHIS already.
After you answer a line, ting.
Ina, look at you. What are you going to do in the office when you can just download the app to register for an NHIS membership?
Yes, my people. You heard right. You can now download and register your membership on my NHIS app. No long queues or tedious paperwork. All you need is your Ghana card to register for yourself and for others. Once you register, you get a new digital NHIS card on your phone. My NHIS app gives you access to credentialed health facilities and services across the country. NHIS covers over 95% of disease conditions in Ghana. Access to healthcare just got easier.
Now let me sign up quickly. Please, Seth, I'm starting work next month.
Here's Kwame and Yao. After hours of planning, both have locked in the same perfect multi-bet. Big win for United, over 1.5. And both teams to score in the London Derby. But who could have picked Leicester over City? Or a high-scoring game at the Bridge? There's nothing worse than having your perfect multi-bet missing. But there's nothing better than having it saved. Bet saver, win, even if your bet misses.
Sankofa Natural Spices, 100% natural. DDA.
Fellow Ghanaians, I am Sewami here. As we approach this important election, Sankofa Natural Spices reminds us that no matter who we vote for, we are united as one Ghana. Our nation's strength lies in our diversity, much like the rich flavors that make up our favorite dishes. Together, we create something beautiful. As we cast our votes, let us hold peace close to our hearts. Let us cherish the unity that makes Ghana a beacon of hope and pride. Unlike other spice brands that are imported, Sankofa is made in Ghana, by Ghanaians and for Ghanaians. All we have is Ghana. Hence, we join the millions of Ghanaians to pray that our dear nation is always preserved regardless of our political affiliation. Remember, Ghana is all we have. We are one people, one heart, one destiny. We at Sankofa Natural Spices wish you all peace, safety and strength during this election season. Sankofa Natural Spices. DDA.
Sankofa Natural Spices, 100% natural. DDA.
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing. But nothing better than having it saved. Bet saver.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show. I have Kwejo. Isafwa Puku and Kwejo Chumbuafu. That's a former Kotoko player. Okay, so, well, you've all been there. You've placed the perfect multi-bet and it's all going your way until it's not. And one or more picks let you down. Well, with Betway's Bet Saver feature, you can win even if your bet misses. Even on multiple losses, you can get your bet back and more. Bet Saver is exclusive to Betway. Get way more. Terms and conditions apply. It's regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet the responsible way. Betway, get way more. Okay. Yes.
Before,
yes.
You see, what I was saying, that Kojo was disputing hotly, has just been confirmed by Dr. Bemboachi. There are procurement scams after procurement scams after procurement scams at ECG. It is the reason why they are so ineffectual and ineffective. But when you say it, the MPP will talk down to us. Just like I'm being talked down to. I'm being told I don't understand. But what most of us understand is that we are paying money for valueless service. We are paying money to a constrictive monopoly that is simply shafting us day in, day out. Like Ben said, why do you have to change meters every time there's going to be an election? How would you do that? They did it in 2020 and came and told us that it's not working.
That's not true. Nobody did it.
For you, nothing's true. Them I'm in casa. And then when I finish, when I'm talking, you'll be talked down to. It is the reason why they are where they are. And sometimes the boorishness with which you are talked down to is shocking. Since we came to sit here, Kojo has told me that I don't understand anything about meters. I don't even understand grammar. I don't understand. There's so many things I don't understand. The only thing he's not telling me that I'm not understanding is what comes out of my pocket. And electricity prices in this country are so high that it actually deters investors. I was the head of Fizos for 8 years. Every time people come and invest, the first issues they raise are electricity prices. It is shocking what your meters can run into. The wastefulness, utterly shocking. So, when we are told that sebi yenim nyansanti ni yakasa, and so a can bar, then the coin and the money yenina ye bit to ebi. Yenim nyansada ni yaka. You see, for those people who can pay, and there are many who can, let us not behave like people are not struggling to pay these humongous bills. Because there are people who do not even make enough money to cover their electricity bills a month before they eat. And when these things keep happening, we pay electricity bills that it goes to help them. So if I sit here and infer that some people in government are benefiting from that transaction, will I be lying? But we are being told that I can't say that because I don't have proof. Do I need proof to be told that a certain government policy is stupid? Randy and my brother Kujo, lawyers have a saying called prior bad acts, right? If I sit here and I tell you I find the Habtel agreement smelly and suspicious, it is because there are prior bad acts with SML. Am I lying? SML. Same thing. There are prior bad acts with the COVID, where a private Nigerian who had affiliation with the First Family was given a contract at a time when he hadn't even formed the company. He made away with $87 million. The government had $7 million. Now what is wrong with us? Randy, if this $87 million had gone to Noguchi to train doctors for them to deal with infectious diseases, would we not have been better off? Tell me we would not have been better off. Could you tell me than a Nigerian taking away 80? And you know that money, You know they were not taking it in cash. The money had to come from a credit card. So straight away, you know it's going to an offshore account. And it's gone. How many of such things have happened in this country? And then they come and sit down and give us a glib explanation. Right? When you complain, they'll tell you, say, we need the answer. Like I'm being told here. That you cannot grasp the issues. You don't understand the intricacy. What intricacy do I have to understand to know that this Haftel thing is going to the hands of some politicians? Notably some MPP. You know, I don't want to say everything I know. Dr. Bemboache has explained it to the public. He's an expert who cannot be contradicted. So when people talk about things like Haftel, things like SML, and the heck, even the finance minister and his deputies were collecting, what do you call it? They were collecting committees from bringing us loans. So are you surprised that we are in 760 billion in this worth of debt? That finance minister has closed down his bank with all the deposits. He closed it down himself.
Which bank?
Data bank.
Who told you that it's been closed down? It's not. It's functioning.
So the people who were told...
It's functioning. It's not been closed down.
So the people who were told that their investments were not coming back until the government gives the bank's money, have they gotten their money back? Randy, I know somebody...
Yeah, but data bank is operational.
People's investments are locked up, true or false?
Yeah, but could you... The information you put out is...
Okay.
Yes.
It's wrong.
Data bank is still in operation.
So, what happened to the investments? People who put in their investments, who wanted it back? I know somebody who put in 27,000 cedis of his money and got 9,000 back.
As for that one, all of us, DDEP, all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, it affected everybody.
And these are the things that people are talking about. These are the things that has resulted in where the MPP is today. Instead of us getting a cogent explanation, getting an apologies where we need to get them, we are simply told that it doesn't happen. If you recall, lastly, do you remember during the DDP, the president told us 2 weeks before it actually happened that there will be no haircut. I'm quoting. And then what happened?
He lied.
Did he lie or he was not really in charge? Maybe that's what he believed.
No, I believe that he's in charge.
And so he lied. So
I mean, the facts expose what he said.
Exactly, ipso facto. So where we are today, most of us are struggling to pay your children's school fees, struggling to buy fuel, struggling to... Randy, we even have, I mean, if they spell out the taxes on a gallon of petrol, it will shock you what you are paying for. And this business of paying people who have done no work, instead of creating capacity for the state institutions concerned, it's unbelievable. Do you remember the customs officials were the ones who stood up against SML? The ECG workers were the ones who stood up against PDS. I'm wondering what Kojo's views are on PDS, that debacle. Where are the revenues they collect?
You don't know his views.
I think he's
no,
not.
I said I am wondering.
He's not been in this country. I honestly think he's not been in this country.
But for now,
you will not know. But you shouldn't wonder because my views are open. They are on air. They are on internet. They are everywhere. My views are open.
So do you know what Kojo is trying to do to
you?
So
what is he trying to do?
Is finding a clever way of getting you to repeat your views.
No, I'm not going to repeat it. So you don't have time for us to go through that. Everybody that knows Kojo Poku knows my views. So you cannot.
He says what he's trying to do.
No,
is to tempt you to.
I'm too smart for that.
He's
not going to get me to do that. Let me stay focused and deal with your matters.
No, stay focused and tell us what you think of PDS.
No, but it's on record. It's on record. My letter to Parliament is on record. My letter to the Committee on Parliament is on record. Bemboache, who just came, me and Bemboache and Kwame Jantua wrote a letter to Parliament.
Write it to me. Send it to me. Send
look,
me a copy. No, seriously, send me a copy.
Let me deal with this thing. Okay, look. Like I've always said on this platform, I do not have details on Haftel. So I don't speak on Haftel because I honestly don't understand. But there's something that my brother Ben said that for me, where I'm conflicted because I know that ECG's payments do not go to Haftel before going to ECG. But those are things that in the near future, we'll get the details, because the situation we are in now demands that there is now a second party, the NDC has come in. They will go in and tell us the real truth. Now, the most important thing that Ben made and said that, oh, it's upstream, our, what you call it, has declined. It hasn't declined. Our upstream hasn't declined. In fact, 2024 has been a very good year for Ghana.
Investments has declined.
Investment, but the investment hasn't. Investment declines. It will reflect in your production.
Yes.
Production, ENI and the Tallow Jubilee partners have really invested a lot to increase production. Production has gone up. Let me read to you the facts. In 2023, production was 15.5 million barrels over the period, whilst in 2024 there's an upwards of 15.6, which is about 20.69 million barrels. So the ENI partners and the Jubilee partners has really invested some money, and basically production is up in 2024.
Now, are you suggesting that this production you're talking about is higher than
the previous years? Yes.
The previous years.
Yes.
So
the previous year,
2023,
I'll give you 2023. 2023 was 17.97 barrels. 2024 is 20.69.
No, proud to 2023.
Well, we have had a decline.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that currently, because of the investment, that's fine. That's fine. But I need to clarify that currently,
not speaking about 2024.
Well, that's fine. But currently, the production for this year is higher than the previous year.
Yes.
So there is an upward
trajectory. Because the previous year was terrible.
Yes. So the most important thing my brother keeps talking about is ECG. We've all agreed, and I've said multiple times, that ECG is a going concern. If anybody will listen to me, Kojopoko, one of the plans I had, and honestly, as a chairman of the manifesto committee on energy, I'm surprised my brother Ben writes a letter to JM on an open letter on this thing, right? When he's my friend, my very good friend, and he did a submission to my committee. I invited him. He came, and if you read our manifesto, every concern that ASAP had is been taken into account. We've addressed it in our manifesto. When the manifesto came out, ASAP never commented on our manifesto to say that, thanks to the committee for MPP manifesto for basically being the one that we think ASAP, when they come in, this.
But how do you know if the NDC also didn't invite them?
No, but
and whether the NDC's manifesto also contains...
No, it doesn't, because our manifesto is different from your manifesto. I've read your manifesto. Our manifesto says certain things that our manifesto is very detailed. The NDC manifesto on energy is not detailed. You can, and I called on my brother John Jinapo, John Jinapo. I called on my brother John Jinapo all the time and Bauer that, look, let's put the two manifestos side to side and debate it. And nobody showed up. Our manifesto, yes, please, I'm telling you. But I'm telling you, nobody showed up.
Has been here with you.
No, before the manifesto came out.
Yes, but he's been here with you. Bauer has been here with you.
But before the manifesto. No, but I'm saying that when
anybody was running away from
what I'm saying that to discuss the two manifestos.
But you presented your manifesto to the Ghanaian people, and they gave you 41%.
Exactly, but for John, if maybe for him to write a letter to GM, if he had come out to say that ASAP thinks that the MPP manifesto addresses the concerns of the sector, maybe he would have gotten more than that. But he didn't.
Who would have gotten more than that?
I'm just saying that ASAP is a civil society organization.
Yes.
They are now, Ben is talking about the things that open letter that John should address.
Yes.
We address those things in our manifesto. ASAP never said
but addressing...
No, but I'm just saying...
something in the manifesto
but by him putting it on paper, what happens? How the things he's put on paper will not be done.
Why?
Because it's intrigued. Let me tell you why. Hold on. The things he put on paper that he's addressing to John, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, elected, right? Half of them.
Yes.
Because the downstream things that he's talking about MPA becoming a procurement institution, right? Those things are backed by the act that MPA has.
Which act?
MPA Act.
No, but he's not saying
no,
that.
but I'm just he's saying, but I'm telling you that.
Relax. When people speak, please.
Okay.
When people speak, don't misinterpret and misrepresent what they say. He hasn't said that NPA cannot do procurement.
That's what he
is talking about the nature, please. He's talking about the nature of the procurement, the lack of transparency, the volumes involved.
No. What Ben is saying that MPA, and I agree with him, MPA should not do procurement. A regulator should not be.
How can you say that?
A regulator should not be doing the procurement.
How can you say so? The regulator, the A4Cs that they use, who should do the procurement for them?
That's not what Ben is talking about. Yes. That's what I'm saying. That Ben, me and Ben have had this conversation over and over. The procurement Ben is talking about, and he rightfully said in his Zoom, it's not the procurement of A4 sheets. The regulator is now in. Look, instead of them sending their
so what's your disagreement with him then?
No, I don't have disagreement. What I'm trying to point out, that it's hurriedness to write a letter. All he could have done, since hold on, he wants certain things addressed. I'm just making a statement. You might agree or disagree.
No, I'm saying no, I don't get.
Ben Boakye is quick to write an open letter to the president.
No.
He could have.
You are engaged in complete misplaced.
It's not misplaced, but
misplaced aggression.
It's not aggression.
Please,
it's a statement I'm making.
Please. A candidate is going to an election. Somebody has won an election. He's president-elect. He's going to take over the reins of power. And the man writes an open letter to the person. The person who has won power. And who has the right to effect changes. How do you compare that to you inviting somebody to come and give you pointers to write your manifesto?
Okay.
How do you even compare that?
No, it wasn't pointers. It was to discuss the issues in the industry.
If you were serious, you would have implemented. You would have implemented some of the things you said. Because you still have power.
Hold on. The point I'm trying to get across to you is the statement I'm making. You might disagree with what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that for him to be quick to write a letter, ASAP, after we have taken all their submissions on board our manifesto, could have at least paid us that courtesy and basically acknowledge publicly that the MPP manifesto on energy addresses those problems. He didn't. That's a statement. You might not agree with me, but I'm making that statement.
Okay, but no, how is that related to his open letter?
It's related because I'm surprised he's writing that letter when he couldn't even acknowledge that we have taken into consideration the things that he came to tell us that he wants us to do. If he wants them done, he thinks that now is the time to do it. Let's watch the space. Let's watch that space.
You can terminate it.
The difference that we don't seem to get is that look. The difference you don't seem to get. Now in 3 months' time, NDC will be in power. It will be beautiful. All these things that I'm noting down will be coming to this stadium.
According to Kojo, we don't get anything. But we were in this country when the Ministry of Communications signed an agreement with another Nigerian to give them $1.5 million every month in 2028. And come, hold on. We don't understand anything.
I'm not saying
but you people are still stealing.
But that's fine. But you have opportunity.
Ghanaians
have given the mandate. The campaign is over. The campaign is over.
The modus operandi is still the same. I said as we speak today,
the campaign is over.
There is a company. A Nigerian company.
What would you do about it?
Well, no, you do something about it.
I mean,
that's what Rani is telling
we decided not to. We've lost power. You are in power. What would you do about it?
You've not lost power.
You are still in power.
What do you mean you lost
an election? You've not lost power.
I'm just saying that
yesterday you saw in a strat.
But the point is that the Nanado administration has its mandate, has its agenda.
Yes.
You rightfully said that there are certain things that if they would have done in the last 7 years, they wouldn't have tried to do it now. So clearly, the Nanado administration has its manifesto, has its agenda, is procuring it to the 6th January. There are certain things you are not happy with. And I'm saying that all these rants that he's ranting.
So the electric buses.
What I'm saying.
The electric buses, were they part of Nanado's manifesto?
No, but I'm just saying that things he's not happy with.
Okay.
The money that
things that you are not happy with.
The money that
Ghanaians have given you a mandate. What the beauty about democracy is that you now have a mandate to come in on January 6th.
And do what you say.
And do what you claim. In 6 months' time, we'll come into this platform.
Yeah, but until then.
Until then, the Nanado administration is focused on the things they want to do, which you are not happy with. That's fine. All the contracts you are claiming and all the things you have done is something that the Nanado administration is focused on doing. You are not happy with it. I am telling you that. Fine, it's good. You are not happy with it. Go ahead. In 3 months' time, all the things that we claim we are not happy with, let's sit here in June and let's look at what you've done about it.
Okay.
That's all we are. Let's see what you've done about it.
All right, no problem. Okay, so the two Kojos, thanks for joining me on a Thursday.
Thank you, my brother, for inviting us.
You're welcome. I mean, issues in there is very simple. We are more than happy to move on.
It's a privilege. I don't take lightly.
Regroup and come back. You know what I mean? And my brother makes it look like I say he doesn't understand. It's not that.
That's what you say.
No, but in certain areas, if you don't understand, ask for explanation. I'll give you the explanation.
Let me give you free advice. You wanted to be president of this country.
Hey, you let this thing go.
Learn to listen. And before you say something,
it looks like that thing bothered you.
Before you say something, make sure you know what you are saying, because you will be quoted. Like what you went to say at Israel.
But I stick by it. You see, I'm not walking back on it.
Let me just do
That's
this.
the problem. You don't get.
Now,
I don't walk back on
this
those
midnight appointment or lame duck appointment is a practice that allows the outgoing administration to fill key positions with their preferred candidates, potentially influencing policy and decision making for the incoming administration. The goal is often to ensure that the outgoing administration's policies and legacy continue even after they are no longer in power. However, this practice can be contentious, as it may be seen as an attempt to undermine the authority of the incoming administration. The incoming administration may choose to remove or replace these appointees, leading to further controversy. Maybe the obliteration of the MPP has brought some confusion, that they've forgotten the letter Osafo wrote in 2016. This is unacceptable and must be reversed immediately. And he says a regard to both of you, especially Kojo Chumbafo. This is from Mark Kojo Boafo in the States. All right. Okay. So, gentlemen, that will be it for the morning. Up next, Metro Sports.
Not to say what me a police for BB. Not to say what me a military for BB. Not to say what me a electoral commission for BB. Not to say what me a judges in BB. Domama, Uni NDC, Mobu. Bibian were Bessier. Domama, Bibian were Bessier. Ha! Meka Adia Trail Biase. Obia piano kotuna ba awa bla sumdwewo obi kwa anwodin fo fie kofuna da bade je saw chechire no obi kwa anwodin fo fie anko joma mahuru sai olusu aba no eti sam huru sai ya bi no pese okeka aba no nyankopon dia maye munya ko muka aye mo se nwoma no a o tia se aye Exodus mo se nwoma to sunum no etire edunan echichemu dumiansa eko edunan no osi munye kom no nyakupo be kwama mo asante man onyakupo be kwama ye Ghana ma onyakupo be kwama ye Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud obi onyakupo be kwama ye MPP onyakupo be kwama ye mesi dame no dano onyakupo basa baba ye kase awo Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud ba omiaso. We are going to make a history. John Mahama, Messina Hinianu Yahu Bio. John Mahama Yahu no politics Bio. He's going to be a history. And Chatimodin, any Yawa one move to avenge his political enemies. Our person Bannon. It's not going to work because God is no longer going to tolerate John Dramani Mahama to come and be a friend said the president again in Ghana. It's not going to happen. It's sorry. There will be a Matimia Biano. But what they say, a free na, a copy memendano. Obey, Mechama to me, Miami dear. Said your poor casa, Ocopano, Makuma, a casa was a new Kulumbiabo, Abattre Bono, and you be a Maca. Chama to me, my dear TV, 5 TV stations. Many adverto. Oko Western. Oko Western North. Tamale. Menya advertido. Any red woman advertido. Medi ya MPP Juma. Etidiana ususuba timiaye. Medi mangwadi misika ni bibiana bidi asemu. Sabio. Akadiana usuba timiaye. Jomama ummanne. Jomama ummanne. Umachina obu wa Jomama obu wa ha umau now to say what I'm handsome and I have money. My chain is about $200,000 US. My watch here is $120,000 US. The case I want fire say I want fair me I want fair no bottom I want fair wakumamu and I'm handsome na nimu nyina prompro wana Jomama ummanne umachina obu wa Jomama obu wa ha umau now to say what I will pray in Hebrew. Todaya Shach. Shamak Israel Yehovah. El Ahenu Yehovah Ekat. We Ahata et Yehovah. Elohika Bika Nuvika. Uvika Noveshika. Uvika Miyodika. Todaya Shach. Rura Kadesh. Amen.